Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Yes Network, the home of champions.
Tonight, the big lefty Randy Johnson climbs the hill for the Yankees. After a slow start, the prized ace of the staff has fought through his struggles and lately has been nothing short of spectacular. The Yankees are hoping that Johnson can step up and stop a losing streak before it gets started. Game 2 against the Rays next on Yes. Well, as the train rolls into Yankee Stadium, the Yankees will try to get back on track as they take on the Devil Rays here in Game 2 of a 4-game series. Hideo Nomo will be the opposition against Randy Johnson. Nomo already in the Japanese Hall of Fame. Randy Johnson on his way to Cooperstown. There's another guy who's probably on his way there, a very determined Alex Rodriguez. And tonight, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the Tampa Bay Devil Rays against the New York Yankees. Game 2 of a 4-game series from the Bronx. Good evening, everyone. Along with Paul O'Neill, I'm Jim Codd. Happy to have you with us. It looked like the Yankees were going to get shut out for a while last night, but the one constant in that lineup has been Hideki Matsui, particularly since he's been a DH.
Yeah, I mean, being an ex-hitter, there's nothing more fun to see is coming in and seeing a good hitter who's hot. I mean, Hideki has gone through some trouble this year, but right now, there's a 0-2 pitch. He breaks up a no-hitter. Right now, he's as comfortable as he has been all year. And the important thing is, I mean, he almost single-handedly got the Yankees back in the game, is for the guys ahead of him to get on base where he has a chance to make a difference in the game.
And that's how comfortable he's been. He's the American League Player of the Week, hitting .455 with 3 home runs. His 11-game hitting streak ties his career high. Well, one of the things we have not seen from the Yankee teams this year that we did back when you played is a lot of come-from-behind wins. And we look at this graphic, we'll see how really futile the Yankees have been late in the game. And I think this might be as much mental as physical.
Oh, there's no doubt, Kitty. I just think that you get in a mindset of knowing you're going to come back and win games, or you put pressure on yourself to not get behind. And as good as the Yankees bullpen sets up to be, it should be, there's no reason these Yankees shouldn't come back and win some games.
Well, there's some numbers they would like to turn around. If Randy Johnson is on his game, they may not have to come from behind. We'll have the pitching matchup, Johnson and Nomo, when we come back to the Bronx after this. Another beautiful night in the Bronx as you see the Tampa Bay Devil Rays are in town for another evening game here at the stadium. And tonight's pitching matchup is brought to you by Infiniti, makers of innovative high-performance premium vehicles. A pair of veterans, strikeout pitchers, Hideo Nomo for the Devil Rays against Randy Johnson. Randy's 7-5, coming off perhaps his best start of the year.
Well, there's no doubt about it. His first complete win of the season, and a season-high 11 strikeouts against the Pirates last week. He's going for his 3rd consecutive win and his 254th career win. And all of a sudden, it becomes an important game to get the Yankees winning again.
So Randy will see if he can keep that sharp slider going tonight against the Rays. We'll have it for you when we come back after this. His last one, first complete game win. He's at the 100-inning mark, less than a hit per inning, and a good strikeout walk ratio. Let's take a look at the Jeep pitcher scouting report. He is really on a good roll. You said he's looking for 3 in a row. He's got to keep the angle of that slider, stay on top of it, and if they get on base, watch the Rabbits, because one thing they'll do on Randy Johnson with that big leg kick is they'll steal some bases. In for a strike to Crawford. 78 degrees, very comfortable. Low humidity, ideal baseball weather. Yankees baseball on Yes, presented in high definition where available. See the Flaherty target? That's been the big change, even though he doesn't hit it all the time, but it forces Johnson to get that slider outside. And just like last game, he threw a 12-pitch first inning, all strikes. He starts out tonight with 3 strikes.
Well, he gets ahead in the count, and all of a sudden, we talked about it last night, when you're defensive as a hitter, I mean, you're 0-2 against Randy Johnson as a left-handed hitter, that strike zone becomes real big.
It appears that John Flaherty is becoming his personal catcher. So Julio Lugo steps in. Strike. Yankee baseball available in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. It's brought to you by Toyota. 17 models moving you forward. That's low, and it's 1-1. High and away. The Devil Rays, as the count goes to 2-1, have some hitters in that lineup that can, make contact and advance. The kind of lineup that can give Johnson some trouble. There you see Lugo with the average at 291. He's got some speed. Fights that off, and it's 2-2.
I mean, you threw a lot of games against big power clubs and games against the little punch and Judy clubs, and you have to pitch. I mean, when you know guys are going to slap the ball and put the ball in play, it's a tougher game for you mentally to go out there and try to get outs.
No question. There's a trade-off there. Got him. Starts the game with 2 strikeouts. He struck out 11 in his last start, and of course he and Nolan Ryan are up at the top of the heap when it comes to 10 strikeout games.
And again, ahead in the count, that's a ball out of the zone, but as a hitter, I mean, you've seen his slider early in the count as a strike. You've seen his fastball. All of a sudden, you move that slider out of the zone, and as a hitter, you have a tendency to swing over it.
Jorge Cantu hitting .309 for the Devil Rays, one of their better hitters. 9 home runs, 36 ribbies. He takes high for a ball. I mentioned the trade-off. When you're facing a lineup of contact hitters, chances are you have to work a lot harder. You have to throw more pitches. The trade-off is the big boppers can get you 3 runs with 1 swing, whereas oftentimes teams like this, it'll take 3-4 hits to produce a run. That's hit well out toward left center. Bernie on the run is going to have to play it on a hop. Cantu makes a big turn and has a 2-out single here in the bottom of the top of the first.
Every highlight you see of Cantu over the past 3 years have all been offensive. He's an offensive player that they're going to work on, but he's a good player. I mean, here's one guy that the Devil Rays think that is going to be part of a winning team here in the future.
He has shown some great hitting ability. You see Bernie right there, quick decision. He didn't think he could dive and catch that, so he had to play it on 1 hop, hold him to a single. Here's Aubrey Huff. Popped up near the Devil Ray dugout. Flaherty gives chase, and he'll run out of room.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Tampa Bay manager Lou Piniella, every opportunity I get to run against Randy Johnson, I'm going to have to run. If they throw me out, they throw me out. But you're not going to string together 4 or 5 hits against Randy Johnson when he's on his game.
What you hope to do is, even with Cantu, is steal a base. Maybe somebody will get a bloop and produce a run.
Again, we went over it last night. Aubrey Huff, probably offensively their best player. His numbers are way down this year. He's going through a tough time. And these are the nights that you think, here I am. I'm struggling, and then you look out there and you got a 6'10" left-hander on the mound.
No question about Huff's hitting ability. He's not putting up the numbers that they're accustomed to this year. Just 255. You're accustomed to seeing his average near 300 with at least 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. Lays off the slider, 2-1.
If you're a base stealer, I mean, this is when you start studying Randy Johnson. You try to pick on sliders. I mean, because sliders down in the dirt, sliders down away are hard for Flaherty, to come up and make a good throw. You don't want to try to run in the fastball count. Gives Flaherty a lot better opportunity to throw you out.
Which this would be an ideal situation. Of course, Cantu has not much of a lead at all, but with with 2-2 on a left-hand hitter, and you anticipate it. Boy, you look at Flaherty encouraging Johnson. John doesn't see it. It's popped foul out of play. We'll do it again. By giving him that exaggerated target, even though you don't get it all the way out there all the time, it really forces him. You see, now watch John move, pounding on that right leg, and get that target way out there. Sharply, but right at Cano. Silky smooth, throws out Huff. 1-out single for the Devil Rays. That's all they get. Yankees coming to bat against veteran Hideo Nomo when we come back. Guy's still been one of the premier strikeout pitchers. We'll check out the scouting report brought to you by Jeep. If he does get ahead, and that's kind of redundant, if you throw a good splitter, it is unhittable anyway, but he has one. And like Randy Johnson, if you get on base, you can run on him with a big motion. And that motion they call the tornado. The way he stretches and winds up, and never has to go to the chiropractor the way he can stretch during his windup.
You know, he's not the strikeout pitcher he used to be, because at one time he had a good enough fastball in fastball counts to get it by you. And now he doesn't. He has to kind of trick you a little bit. But, you know, when you lose your fastball, you also lose somewhat of your split, because your arm speed obviously is not the same.
Outside for a ball to Derek Jeter. Active leaders, you see he is still up there in 5th position, with Randy Johnson at the top. Hit well to left field, right at Carl Crawford. Well, the point you make, Paul, as we check out the Yankees in the field, take us around there, or the Devil Rays, see what they've got behind Nomo.
We've got Perez at first, Cantu at short, Crawford, Hollins, and Huff out in the outfield. Lugo Gonzalez, and behind the plate, different catcher tonight, Cash.
His 3rd start of the year. He's like John Flaherty, known more for his catching ability than his hitting ability. Here's Womack. Low for a ball. That when you mention a guy doesn't have the good fastball anymore, I think what so many pitchers fall into a trap is when they do lose a little velocity. It's upstairs 2-0. They go to more breaking balls, and then it's one of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you quit using your fastball and throwing it a high percentage of time, you tend to lose a lot of velocity and movement on it. That's in for strike, 2-1.
You see, you know, guys that had really good curveballs or really good sliders, and all of a sudden they lose a little bit on their fastball. Well, that's not the only pitch they lose. Their curveball starts to roll a little bit. Their slider's not quite as sharp. And all of a sudden, you're just not the same pitcher as you used to be.
That's fouled out of play. Boy, the Yankees really waiting for Tony Womack to get on a hot streak. You notice there 2-0. He took a pretty good hitter's pitch down the middle and then fouled that one off. He is, I would say, a little confused at the plate right now.
Right.
There's the splitter, but it misses and the count's full. Longest streak of his career without a home run. Got him. There's that splitter. It looks like a strike till it gets about 8 feet from home plate.
You know, it is funny because you see a hitter on TV as a fan in your living room. How in the world could you swing at this pitch? But out of his hand, halfway to the plate, when you make up your mind to swing at that pitch, it's in the strike zone. And that's just how much movement you see on it.
Nomo appears to be one of those pitchers, and this is easy to say but harder to do. When it's low, let it go. When it's high, let it fly. Because usually when he throws a pitch low, it falls out of the strike zone. Nobody needs to help Sheffield hitting Nomo. He's done very well against him. Chopper up the middle. Lugo. A couple of high hops to Eduardo Perez, and the Yankees go in order. One in the books between a couple of veteran pitchers. No score at the stadium. Back after this. Dodge. Well, basketball season could end tonight, but those youngsters are going to keep on playing.
Playing for the future there.
Yeah.
Trying to get in those big games.
A little digital shot of the big unit is when Eduardo Perez checks his swing. Notice that was a slider. Eduardo hit 2 home runs off Randy Johnson at the stadium when the Devil Rays were in April. It's only the 14th player to do that in Randy's career. And it's even slimmer percentages when you do it in consecutive at-bats, which he did. Slider. Johnson not happy with that. Mentioned in the last start, Paul, that when Tim McCarver caught Steve Carlton, he would go to the first base umpire before the game and say, you're going to see a lot of check swings with that slider, and you try to influence the umpire. So there's a 4-pitch walk, maybe a little of the respect because of Eduardo's success. Here's a look at the 2 at-bats against him. Flat slider. And a fastball. So this time, Eduardo draws a walk to lead off the second. Here's Johnny Gomes. In for a strike. Gomes, the DH, started the year at Durham. Hit well enough to get up to the big leagues, and his average right now, .333. 0-2. Popped up behind second base. Jeter's there. And he puts it away, 1 away in the top of the second. Time to check out the Yankees' upcoming schedule. It's brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And the Devil Rays for 2 more. We'll have a 1:05 start tomorrow, of course, with the pregame show. Bob Lorenz and Kimberly Jones half hour prior to the Yes games. And then the Devil Rays still here on Thursday. And then the Mets, the last of interleague baseball. Friday, a 7:05 start. Note the unusual starting time on Saturday, 4:05. And then it's the ESPN nationally televised game on Sunday.
You know, it's funny how those things don't matter anymore, but boy, if I saw a 4:05 start back when I was playing, I knew it was going to be shadows. I knew the first 4 or 5 innings you weren't going to be to see the ball as a hitter.
You wouldn't want to face Randy Johnson or Nolan Ryan.
Start looking at the weather report to see if it was going to be cloudy or if it was going to be sunny.
Damon Hollins takes a strike. And that's hit well if it's fair. And it is a 2-run homer for the 31-year-old rookie, and gets the Devil Rays on the board 2-0.
Here you go again. It's almost a shock to see the Devil Rays come in here with any kind of confidence, especially with Randy Johnson on the hill. But they've beat the Yankees this year, and they're starting to feel like they belong out there with them, and that's not what you're accustomed to seeing.
He knew it. Had that magic feel for a hitter.
So you close your eyes and know that sound, Kitty.
Another one hit deep to left. That's gone. Wow. Kevin Cash, his second of the year, known more for his catching ability, and they go back-to-back on consecutive pitches. Break up the Devil Rays. They're 5-2 against the Yankees, and they jump out to a 3-0 lead.
This is where the manager really gets happy, because these players make him look like a genius. You know, you spot start somebody and he walks up and hits a home run the first time up.
So another shocking start to a game between the Yankees and the Devil Rays, particularly with Randy Johnson on the mound. Here's Alex Gonzalez, takes low for a ball. That looked like a fastball. I'd say the majority of the home runs off Randy this year have been when the slider's a little flat. 2-0. That's hit well. That's in the gap. Bernie will come over to cut it off. And the Devil Rays having their way with the big unit here in the second inning.
And if you look at this pitch, I mean, this pitch is just up. You don't want to. These guys are going to make contact when you get the ball up out over the plate. A lot of these guys are going to put it in play. That hasn't been the Devil Rays' weakness this year. It's been their pitching. They've scored some runs.
Again, did not really look like his power fastball. I don't know if it was something off speed or a slider. Here's Crawford. Gonzalez on the move. No chance for Flaherty. No chance. Johnson staring in at the Devil Ray dugout. Wow, there's an unusual sight. Lou is all smiles.
It's early.
1-1 to Crawford. 14th and 15th home runs surrendered by Randy Johnson this year, and just behind the White Sox in stolen bases. Carl Crawford having a little trouble making contact with that slider, and it's 1-2. That's hit well. Headed for the gap in right center. Sheffield won't catch it. Gonzalez will score, and Crawford has speed. He'll go for 3. And he will make it easily. Wow. 4-0 Tampa Bay. Their 4th hit of the inning.
And Kenny, these haven't been cheapies either. These balls have been hard hit, and that's what you start wondering. That's an old slider. Didn't quite get out there. I'll tell you what, if you're a fan or not, it's fun to see guys who can run the bases. Huh?
And you're so right about those pitches. In fact, that looked like, it almost looked like a fastball. Was it a flat slider?
Yeah.
But it gives you an idea. I don't care how great your stuff is. If you don't throw it in the proper spot, see where Flaherty had the target, and that's right in that thigh-high zone. Now the Yankees bring the infield in with 1 out, and Crawford at third for Julio Lugo. Swings and misses. You see Cano in on the grass, and Jeter and A-Rod just a step back. And you're looking at one of the best hitters in the league with runners in scoring position. I mentioned that's where the Devil Rays have one of the better hitting teams in the league, and particularly in these situations, Lugo has been top 5 in the league.
No doubt in my mind, Lou Piniella takes a lot of pride in that. I mean, he helps guys, with the thought process of hitting with runners in scoring position at certain times, what to look for, what to do. I mean, Lou knows as much hitting as anybody in baseball today.
In the hole, out of the reach of Jeter, and it pays off. Lugo delivers again. You saw in that graphic, 2nd in the league in these situations, and he ups that average, and the Devil Rays now with a 5-0 lead. You mentioned, Paul, that it isn't hitting, it's pitching. We get another look at it. Down and in, but in the strike zone. Very hittable pitch.
Again, most of the hits you'll see guys get, if you just watch the catcher's glove and you see them start to move out over the plate.
But last night they got a terrific performance from Casey Fossum, and tonight they have a veteran on the mound with a 5-run lead that might be tough to come back against. Jorge Cantu.
And Randy pitched some good games where, the Yankees didn't score him a lot of runs. This is where you got to buckle down and just realize, hey, I've given up 5 runs, but if I can get out of this inning, and tonight's the night this team's going to score me some runs, you might end up winning a game 7-5. And those games are important, because who did that best with David Cone? If he gave up runs early, he would keep that team there. And all of a sudden, you tack on a few runs, before you know it, 5th, 6th inning, you've taken over the lead.
That was a Whitey Ford characteristic as well. Popped up right side, playable. Cano out, and he makes the grab, 2 away. Whitey would give up a few in the first, and like you said, instead of getting on nerve, just shut you down the rest of the way. And of course, we talked about the lack of comeback wins for the Yankees this year. They're going to have to turn that around. Now Aubrey Huff steps in, and it's time to look at the scouting report as presented by Bacardi. Even though he's not having a Aubrey Huff type year, he is their franchise leader in just about all categories. He's been the Rays' Triple Crown winner the last couple years on their team. Batting average, home runs, RBIs. And he's a guy when his contract is up. There goes Lugo, and the pitch is up and in, away from Flaherty. Stolen base. Huff be very marketable. His contract ends after next year, and he could be a good DH for somebody.
Kind of almost expect that after a few, 5 or 6 well-hit balls.
You just don't want to be the guy that's on the receiving end of it, do you?
Especially as a left-handed hitter. But I mean, Randy's frustrated. I mean, they're getting on, they're getting hits, and they're stealing bases, and that's enough to take any pitcher out of it.
And I have a feeling, from having played for Lou in Seattle and having guys like Lee Elia on the coaching staff, that there might be a little bench jockeying going on there. You don't see quite as much of that anymore. But
no, they keep track of those pitches, and if enough of them, come out of one pitcher, then you're going to retaliate. That's just the way it is.
Tap down the first baseline, and Flaherty will throw out Aubrey Huff. So Johnson survives finally the second inning, but not before he gave up a couple of home runs. Damon Hollins, Kevin Cash, 5-0 Devil Rays. To read more on the 1947 championship team, you can log on to YesNetwork.com and click on the Champion Moments link. As the first pitch to A-Rod, high for a ball. One of my memories of that World Series, Paul, was in that series. Cookie Lavagetto broke up a no-hitter by Yankees pitcher Bill Bevins. And when I was called up to the big leagues, Cookie Lavagetto was my first manager. I used to play for the Dodgers. 1-1 now to A-Rod. And that was Jackie Robinson's rookie year. He also had a good series for the Dodgers. 1-2 now to Alex. See the impressive numbers. And it is his 1,500th game in the major leagues tonight. Inside for a ball. Seems like just yesterday we saw him entering a game as a pinch runner for the Mariners when he was a teenager.
Right. And if you took 1,500 games of anybody that's ever played this game, his numbers will probably stack up to anyone.
306 average, 400 home runs. Reaches out and loops a liner to third. Gonzalez is there. And the first 4 Yankees go in order against Nomo. Well, there's all eyes on the television screen in Japan right now, as well as right here, as the American League Player of the Week, Hideki Matsui, steps in against Hideo Nomo. Outside for a ball.
If you're sitting on that Yankee bench, you got to look up. Obviously, you're down 5 runs, but you got to realize it's a second inning. This is a long game. This team is capable of giving up a lot of runs. You, as a Yankee, as an offense, are capable of putting up a lot of runs. And chances are Randy's going to come out, shut them down the rest of the day, and you look at winning this game, 6-5, 7-5, or busting it open.
Hit well, but pulled foul, 2-1. Well, if they do it, it would be rare. We pointed out in the open that has not been a staple of this team. Come from behind wins, and I think one of the reasons you've got a lot of power hitters in the lineup. But now Womack could be a force, or Cano, guys like that tonight. If they can bunt for a base hit and get on, you get a couple walks from Nomo. 3-1. That's what we talked about. They came from behind to beat the Pirates last Wednesday. That was the first game they won when trailing after 8. They haven't done much better after 7. And he draws a walk. Of course, those numbers are normal for your average team, but the Yankees have always done better than that. And that's the one way they can get back in against the Devil Rays is some base on balls.
Yeah, that first, the important run is that first run to get that 0 off the board and get you back into the game and working the count, getting walks, give it, Giambi a chance to drive one in the gap or possibly drive one out of here, and you're right back in the game.
Jason's numbers: .238 with 5 home runs. Popped up left side. Long run for Gonzalez and Lugo and Crawford, and that'll drop in for a ground rule double. Well placed.
Every once in a while, these big left-handed pull hitters, the left fielder's playing over, and all of a sudden that little slicer down the line, it looks like he gave up on that ball real early.
It was really Crawford's ball. I mean, there's no way from where Lugo and Gonzalez were playing, but I think it just drifted away from Carl. And a big break for the Yankees now. Second and third one out for Bernie Williams, and a chance to answer the Devil Rays' 5-run second. 246 with 3 home runs and 20 RBIs for Bernie. And for a strike. Average a little better with runners in scoring position than his season average. That's one thing the Yankees can present for Nomo is even though they're down 5, you're not going to see him flail away at a lot of borderline pitches. That was an example of it right there. They've got more discipline than most lineups. Like that. Yeah, that's a pitch Nomo gets younger hitters to swing at.
Yeah, and now you've got, you get him in fastball counts, and we touched on it earlier. He doesn't have the fastball to throw by you like he used to have. So if you get him in counts where he has to throw his fastball, he doesn't throw hard enough or doesn't have the movement he used to have.
Three and one. One pitch away from loading him up for John Flaherty. Chuck Hernandez, the Devil Ray pitching coach, and Lou Piniella look on, and we've seen Lou shake his head an awful lot about the base on balls his team surrendered more than anybody in baseball.
It's got to frustrate as a manager, as a coach, anything. And Kitty, how many times, a team scores you 5 runs. You're supposed to take that ball and just run with it. All of a sudden, the next inning out is so important just to throw up to 0, and here you got to, base on ball and a cheap double, and the next thing you know, they're right back in the game.
That's hit well, deep right field. Huff is back. He'll make the catch against the warning track, or on the warning track. It will get a run home. Hit well by Bernie. He has a sacrifice fly to show for it. The Yankees are on the board. It's 5-1.
And Bernie right on this pitch looks like it got it off the end of the bat just a little bit.
Well, and it's example what you talked about from Nomo's standpoint. If you come out in this inning and just fire some fastballs in there, everybody's not going to hit them right on the barrel. No. You might get three quick outs, but with the walk and the bloop double, he's given the Yankees a chance to get back in it a little bit. Here's Flaherty. In for a strike. Believe it or not, with all these backup catchers that have come through here since Joe Torre has taken over, behind Joe Girardi and Jorge Posada, Flash is now has caught the 3rd most games. Third baseline scooped up by Gonzalez. He's got a good arm, and he shows it. Retires Flaherty to end the second. A walk, a double, a sacrifice fly gets the Yankees on the board, but after two, the Devil Rays still lead this one 5-1. Hey, got some celebrities here. Well, it's golf tournament week. There's Kevin James and Tiger Woods. Yeah, I bet a lot of people didn't recognize him coming in the stadium because you're accustomed to seeing him with a cap on. He's taking in a little baseball. Yeah, King of Queens, King of Golf. Rez swings through the off-speed pitch, 1-2. Coors Light scoreboard. Eduardo got it started with a base on balls. In the top of the second, swings at the slider and pulls it foul. And for the first time all year, Tampa Bay hit back-to-back home runs. Damon Hollins, the 31-year-old rookie, called up earlier this year, hit a two-run shot. Kevin Cash, a solo. Outside, 2-2. That's hit well center field, and again we're not seeing the blazing fastball from Randy Johnson. Whether he doesn't have confidence in it, but there again is another hit on an off-speed pitch. Paul, let's take a look at tomorrow's starters.
Brought to you by Verizon Online DSL, now twice as fast as before. Scott Kazmir, 2-5 with a 4.69, and Carl Pavano, 4-5 with a 4.53. So they'll be out there during the day game tomorrow.
Trying to improve those numbers. Of course, Scott Kazmir, a highly touted prospect with the Mets that was traded to Tampa Bay. In the air to right, Sheffield retreats on the track, looking up. Gone. Wow. Johnny Gomes, the third home run of the game against Randy Johnson, and the Devil Rays lead at 7-1. If you haven't followed this, another look at it, you can see how far he missed the location.
You know, you get the ball up to Yankee Stadium as a right-handed hitter, you get that ball traveling to right field, you know, good things will happen. And Gary, I mean, Sheffield, you can tell off the bat, didn't even think that ball was hit that hard.
I'll tell you, there's a few guys in that Tampa lineup, their phone bill's going up tonight. They can't wait for this game. Not now, Mel's is going up too because he's got to call the bullpen, but there's a few guys going to call home and say, it's me to see a Devil Ray hitter have to move their feet here one of these next pitches. Gave up 3 home runs in April against the Red Sox. That's low for a ball. See, Mel's talking. He's tuned elsewhere. Off speed pitch in for a strike, 1-1. For the second time this season, Randy Johnson has surrendered 3 home runs in a game. Deep to left, but Womack appears to have room, and another good swing by Hollins on another off-speed pitch.
You know, you just don't say this very often, but if you look at the replay here, I mean, that's a pitch he actually got away with.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
That little slider right there just kind of hanging over the middle of the part of the plate, and it's just giving these right-handed hitters time to get to him.
If the radar gun readings are accurate, that's 86 miles an hour, which for Randy Johnson would be a mediocre fastball. Now, there was a good slider. As you see, recent acquisition, just called up from the minors, Scott Proctor. Heating up in the bullpen. Bubba Crosby option back to Columbus. 0-2. And again, he took something off. I wonder if he's really feeling right. I mean, every pitch you look up there, it's 85. Now, that says a splitter. Another slider. That's one thing Eduardo Perez mentioned. He's mentioned it about a couple pitchers. He said, you know, when they start throwing a lot of that off-speed stuff, they lose a little velocity on their fastball. Had enough there. And after all the off-speed pitches, Cash strikes out on a good fastball. Best pitch in baseball right there if you've got plenty on it and upstairs. High ratio of strikes, but in the third inning, 57 pitches, and 3 of them have left the ballpark. Strike one to Alex Gonzalez. Oh, and 2. That single in the 5-run second. Nice grab by A-Rod. But the Devil Rays strike again. Johnny Gomes with an opposite field home run. Head to the bottom of the third. 7-1 Tampa Bay. State Smokers Quit line. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS. Or go to nysmokefree.com to break loose from your nicotine addiction. A shocking start to game 2 of the 4-game series as Cano takes a strike on the Coors Light scoreboard. If you just joined us, 7 runs by the Devil Rays. They've already hit 3 home runs off Randy Johnson. That's the second time that's happened this year. Ball and a strike to Cano. Outside, 2-1. And when the Pirates and the Cubs were in, because they only see the Yankees once a year, their managers, former teammate of yours with the Pirates, Lloyd McClendon, and then Dusty Baker with the Cubs, you know, they're shaking their head and saying, how in the world is this team only a couple games over 500? Pulled foul. Look out. Boy, White ducks out of the way. But when you see, this is the reason. Maybe it gets overstated, but it points out another example. If you don't pitch well, particularly early, you look like a real flat ball club.
Yeah, teams that, you know, got off to the start, obviously they didn't want to, and were accustomed to being behind and losing a lot of games. I mean, it's almost when you get behind, you don't believe you're going to come back. And we've been over it in the pregame that you have to know that you can come back and win some of these games.
Cano down on strikes on the Nomo splitter. Derek is probably as good a hitter in the Yankee lineup that will think in terms of just making contact and get a base hit. I think that the temptation, you'd know better than I would from being a hitter, is you're down 7-1. You look, and all of a sudden everybody's taking big swings like they can hit an 8-run homer. You can't do that.
No, I mean, big innings are usually a couple hits and a couple walks, and before you know it, you'll hit a home run. But to go up there and try to do it all yourself, that's when you get in trouble, because you got guys trying to do things that they're not accustomed to doing.
First pitch high for a ball. Hit well, right center field. On the run is Huff. He won't get it. It'll bounce into the stands for a ground rule double. Derek hit the ball well in his first at bat right at Crawford. This one in a better spot, and he has a 1-out double.
Again, we talked about it. I mean, Derek Jeter is the best when he keeps his hands inside the baseball. He drives the ball to right field. He's quick enough at times to pull the ball, obviously, but his true swing is to drive the ball to right center field.
You know, I'd like to be sitting next to Tiger Woods right now and have him look at G. I mean, his swing reminds me so much of a good golf swing. He's so tightly wound the way he rotates. He even brought a little smile to Tiger's face.
Well, that's probably why he's, I mean, obviously the golf tournament, he and Derek have been friends over the years, and I'm sure they love to talk different sports. There's nothing better than looking at another guy's sport and trying to pick out the similarities and the differences. main difference, obviously, in golf is there's no foul balls. I've figured that out here lately.
0-2 to Womack. Average down to 243. In the dirt. I haven't thought in a situation like this. You know, in a close game when there's a man in scoring position, they say, well, don't butt, try to knock the run in. But here would have been a perfect opportunity to drop down a bunt and get Sheffield up there with a couple of men on.
You know, I think that you never take for granted that you're going to get that 3-run homer or you have that big inning, and try to, you know, manufacture runs throughout the whole game. And, you know, if you have your big inning, you have your big inning.
Hit well. Center field. Hollins is over. He'll have room. Put it away. Jeter will advance to third. And there's 2 away in the Yankee third. Yeah, the old saying in the dugout when a guy like Derek Jeter hit a doubles, you'd say, okay, let's trade places with him for about 20 minutes.
Right.
Keep hitting doubles and singles.
Keep it moving. Don't be the guys to make the outs. And, you know, we talked about it last night with Carl Crawford from the Devil Rays, how important it was for him to slap the ball on the ground, to find holes. You know, that's the type of player that Tony Womack needs to be with the Yankees. I mean, he needs to slap the ball and find some holes and move runners over, because obviously he's in this ballpark, he's not going to hit the ball out.
Sheffield with 2 out and Derek at third. Low for a ball. You read that score right. 7-1.
Come on, Gary.
In the hole to right. Sheffield picks up an RBI. 7-2.
And again, you can't say it enough how good he is at picking up runners. I mean, what's the hardest hit in baseball? It's a 2-out hit with the guy in scoring position. And right here, he takes away left field. He gets the pitch away, and he just drives it to right field.
Boy, he has such a knack of keeping that bat level through the hitting zone. And there again, an example of a guy who has home run power, just saying, get a base hit, get 1 run at a time. Alex line drive to third base in his first at bat. And for Sheffield, RBI number 45. Looks like Scott Proctor might be getting ready to come in and pitch the 4th inning. Along with Paul O'Neill, I'm Jim Cott. Happy to have you with us in the YES Network. And if you expected a pitcher's duel, so did we. First inning, both Nomo and Johnson were very effective. And just like that, you looked up, the Devil Rays put a 5 spot on the board in the 2nd inning with a pair of home runs. Yankees came back with 1. 2-run homer by Johnny Gomes in the 3rd, make it 7-1. And now Sheffield's RBI has given the Yankees 1 more run here in the 3rd. And Lou Piniella's Devil Rays this year, only the Rockies have a worse record in Major League Baseball, Colorado Rockies, but they're 5-2 against the Yankees, the Devil Rays. Fouled straight back.
Every once in a while, a hitter wants a pitch back, and that's the one you want back right there. That's kind of a hanger right there. He had a good swing at it. You know, sometimes you do everything right, you just foul it off. This ball just hung out over the plate for a long time.
From a pitcher's standpoint, you know that. You throw that pitch and you say, boy, he is right on time. So the next run's either got to be slower or faster or certainly at a better spot. Another hanger fouled out of play. Yeah, really, you can tell how to pitch hitters, pitchers and catchers can, by just sitting on the bench and watching the foul balls. Give you a pretty good idea whether a guy's a pull hitter or whether he's consistently late on a fastball. That's where he wanted it, and Nomo didn't. He won't show much emotion, but that's exactly where they wanted that pitch. Just a bit inside, I guess. Pulls the splitter foul and stays alive, 2-2. The one, maybe the one hope for the Yankees here also is, talked about the Devil Ray bullpen. Last night they got 7 innings from Casey Fawcett. They did break through against Lance Carter, and then Baez shut them down. But the object right now would be to work Nomo over enough to force Lou Piniella to go to that bullpen. A lot of inexperience down there. Got by with another one. Looked like a high breaking pitch. Alex down on strikes to end the third. Yankees pick up another run, but they still have a long way to go. Into 3, Tampa Bay 7, Yankees 2. Top of the 4th inning, Devil Rays lead at 7-2. Time, as always, in the top of the 4th. Look at the Aflac trivia question. Alex Rodriguez's 400 home runs are the 3rd most through a player's first 1,500 games in Major League history. What 2 players had more? Maybe Ken Griffey Jr.
Kitty, I'm afraid to throw. My answers aren't good at Aflac, so I'm afraid to throw them out there.
There's Scott Proctor. Yes, he was just called up from Columbus, and there's his numbers. In his last few appearances, very impressive. 3-0, and he can throw hard. Scott Proctor called up. Bubba Crosby sent down. You see the yes scoreboard, 7-1 Tampa Bay. And those are the 2 players that the Yankees traded Robin Ventura to the Dodgers for. Wow. Scott Proctor, Paul, was signed by one of my former roommates, Billy Place, for the Dodgers. Came out of actually the town I live in Florida. For not a tall, powerfully built looking guy, he can get it up there in the mid to high 90s consistently. Hit well to center field. Bernie on the run is going to play it on a hop. And Crawford has a leadoff single here in the 4th, the 9th hit of the night.
Again, he got strike 1, strike 2 with 2 balls up out of the zone, and that one was just a little bit too down where he could center it and hit it out to center field. Especially those slap hitters. We've talked about Tampa Bay slap hitters. I mean, they're better hitters with 2 strikes. I mean, they're going to cut down their swing. They're going to hit the ball, put it in play. But right now, if you're looking at the Devil Ray team, I mean, they're confident. They're going to the plate thinking they're going to do something good, and that's a big part of the game. When you walk up to that plate, confident you're going to hit the ball hard somewhere.
And right now they're going to run sooner or later. Lugo takes a strike. Tom Foley, the 3rd base coach. You got Carl Crawford over there. He doesn't even need a sign.
I was just thinking the same thing and looking at Lou. I mean, in the old days, you had to wait for a steal sign.
Yeah.
In this day and age, most of the guys, especially Crawford, who's a good base stealer, usually put on their own. And by no means are they going to stop running. It used to be the old golden rule. If you were up by 5 runs, you'd stop running. But
not anymore. Not this early, particularly.
No, not with Tampa Bay's bullpen. You're not going to stop running. You got to score as many runs as you can.
Third consecutive toss over by Proctor. Slider low, 1-1. And when I see those tosses to first, I always think of my former teammate Bruce Sutter, who didn't have a good move to first. So he said, why expose my weakness? He would never throw to first. You just step off. Just kind of step off, stop them, vary your count. And then when you do throw over there, have some purpose to it. But we see a lot of those token throws. Big lead now. Not going. Slider misses, 2-1.
We've talked about the scouting reports we go over every day now in major leagues of what this guy does, what this guy throws, this guy hits. And, that's one of the main scouting things on pitchers. Do they have a good move? What is their time to home plate? And you almost set yourself up to know what kind of jump you need to get to steal the base on a guy.
See Crawford, and we've talked about it before for those of you that have missed it, that cutout, the dirt cutout there at first base. When you see a guy get both feet outside of this cutout right there, that's a base stealer's lead. And boy, I'll tell you, he has got a bold lead. Even bigger. There he goes. Foul straight back as the Rays have the hit and run on. And it's 2-2. Lugo with a good series already. 3 hits in last night's game. Picked up an RBI single in the second inning tonight. Pointed out one of the major league's best at hitting with runners in scoring position. Not going. And takes another slider. Full count.
Kitty, I'm going to go way out of the limb here and say he's going.
Hey, you like a sure thing, don't you? And he is. Pitch was low. And again, boy, they threw Lugo a lot of sliders. And that one misses. And just like that, the Yankees score a run just like that. The Devil Rays have 2 on with nobody out.
The second baseman for the Yankees.
A puzzled Joe Torre looking on.
A lot goes through his head over there with Joe Girardi during the game. And what do you think? It's 6 in a row, and all of a sudden the next couple of days you just don't seem like the same team, and that's what you got to try to figure out. What's changing between the good and the bad,
especially against Tampa Bay. But no secret here, it's the starting pitchers. Sean Hem last night, and I wonder if they're concerned or puzzled by. Almost looked like Crawford bluffed but went back. Like he had a huge jump on Proctor and opted not to go, and now it's 2-0. It appeared that whether Randy didn't feel right, but for him, you expect him to come out and you really see him dominate a lineup like he's done the last couple starts. And it really didn't appear that he was comfortable with his fastball. Threw an awful lot of off-speed stuff, and oftentimes we've seen Kevin Brown go through that, where he just said, my back tightened up. I couldn't let it go real good.
Yeah, you almost have to wonder if, just didn't have it tonight.
Yeah.
If it was something that, was bothering, if something stiffened up. Because obviously he's just too good a pitcher to have that many balls hit hard off of.
Low for a ball, 3-0. But when a pitcher like Randy Johnson, one of the premier power pitchers of all time, when he does have a tough night and he hasn't thrown a lot of fastballs, that gives you cause to say, well, I wonder if there's something wrong with him, because it's one thing to continually get beat with your best pitch, and then another thing to go away from your strength. In for a strike. 3-1 to Cantu. A rare, quiet Yankee Stadium crowd here at home, as the Devil Rays have jumped on the Yankees early. Popped up, right side playable. Sheffield in shallow right. Runners will hold their ground, and that's the first out in the top of the 4th. Now here's a guy that the Devil Rays have been waiting for to kind of break out. Paul, you've said this before. When you're struggling a little bit, you'd much rather see a guy that rears back and throws it hard instead of a guy that tries to trick you. And certainly Proctor does that.
You can tell, Kitty. I mean, this is the inning where you hope to just put up a couple runs. You hope for a quick 0 and back in there. And it's a long inning. It's been some long counts and walks. And all of a sudden, you start seeing guys out on the, for the Yankees just kind of standing and looking and wondering how, what's going on here. Obviously, you want to get back in the dugout. You're down by 5 runs, but you're not able to do that when you're standing here watching long counts.
There they go. Flaherty's throw. Nice effort by A-Rod to make the scoop and the tag. Only chance they had. I mean, John just had to try to release it as quickly as possible, but the blazing speed of Crawford beats the throw.
It's kind of in between hop there.
Yeah.
Good.
Boy, good shot by our crew. You can that guy's Keith DeSantis on that shot right there, but I'm saying one of these days the umpires are going to have a camera in their cap that they can get a shot like that. Yeah, like a miner's helmet. And, boy, that was a slick play by Alex to pick it, try to make the tag. Now the Yankees have to bring the infield in with minutes second and third.
This is kind of a strange defense here. You're a left-handed hitter. You've got the left side of the infield in and the right side back.
They're going to go ahead and put him on. Travis Lee has moved into the on-deck circle. Eduardo Perez plays against lefties, and Travis Lee was with the Yankees a bit last year. A much better fielding first baseman, and a left-hand hitter will pinch hit. The Yankees will walk Huff and try to get a double play.
Kid, if you think about it, you know Tampa Bay's bullpen is not tough, and you know that you can score some runs. But right here, you're at a point where another big inning, and I don't care who you're playing, you're pretty much out of the game.
Yeah.
So you got to battle here and try to get out. The game's on the line right here for you.
A reminder: this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority. The New York Yankees may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and description to this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. So Scott Proctor trying to, that's the one thing that has kept him from being an effective big league pitcher with that mid-90 fastball, is his control. 1 home run and 17 RBIs for Travis Lee. Towards second, not hit hard. Oh, and Cano tried to tag Huff at the same time, does not get an out. Robinson Cano trying to catch the ball, tag Huff, make an inning-ending double play, got neither, and it is 8-2 with the bases still loaded and only 1 out. Right idea, just took his eye off the ball, or either that was shielded by Huff.
Yeah, I thought, Huff was kind of caught in between two, and I thought he might have lost the ball when he hit him, but the ball went off the heel of his glove. That's just one of those quick decisions you got to make.
Yeah, it's the exact play you want to make if you're Robinson Cano. The only thing he didn't do is catch the ball. As Gomes takes a slider for a strike.
It's funny because Huff, yeah. If he gets tagged out there and it's a double play, then it's a terrible base running thing, because you're supposed to stop. But then all of a sudden he'll have guys shaking his hand, think, good job, way to knock that ball, way to shield him.
Yeah, as a base runner, you're taught there to hold up and prevent the opposition from getting 2, and then the run would score. Inside to Gomes, 2-1. Lugo's at third. Aubrey Huff, who was walked intentionally at second. Travis Lee reached on the Cano error. Fouled out of play. And it's 2-2. Up. Got him out in front of a breaking pitch, foul territory. Alex Rodriguez will make the call. So Gomes is retired. And Proctor will face Damon Hollins. Mentioned Damon Hollins, a 31-year-old rookie. A little bit with the Braves last year. Was doing well down at Durham. The Tampa Bay AAA affiliate. And that 2-run homer got the Devil Rays on the board here in the second. I think kind of threw this crowd into a shot. So they hit back-to-back home runs for the first time this year, and both off Randy Johnson. Strike one to Hollins. There's the rookie averages right behind Aaron Hill of the Toronto Blue Jays. And Robinson Cano up there in the fourth spot. Into right field. That's going to get a couple more home. Lee heading for third. Lugo and Huff score. Double figures for the Devil Rays. 10-2 in the top of the fourth. Woo. Third and fourth RBI of the night for Hollins.
Again, you talk about a 31-year-old rookie who hits a home run to left field, and then men on base, drives the ball to right field. What's hooked so long, right?
Yeah. Well, he wants to take advantage of this opportunity. He certainly has. Here's Kevin Cash, who hit a solo home run in the second inning. High for a ball, and Cash is really in there. Acquired him from the Blue Jays. He's always been a good defensive catcher. He's really in there for his catching ability. Toby Hall, the regular catcher, a better hitter, but Cash delivered with a 2-run homer, or rather a solo homer. 1-1. Slider or changeup, 1 and 2. Looked like maybe a split. There's the good fastball. But it misses. Breaking pitch. I guess that's the scouting report that the Yankees have on the Blue Jays, because Proctor comes in here throwing at 95, 96, and yet it seems like we've really only seen his good fastball a few times. There it is right there. Cash struck out on the Proctor fastball to end the fourth inning, but the Devil Rays get 3 more and they lead it 10-2. Hideki Matsui to lead it off when we come back. Bottom of the fourth inning, and it's time to check out the answer to the Aflac trivia question. The question: Alex Rodriguez's 400 home runs, third most through a player's first 1,500 games in Major League history. What 2 players had more? I'm thinking Ken Griffey Jr. might be one. Nope, Mark McGwire and the Babe.
A couple heavyweights, huh?
Yeah. Matsui pulls the first pitch foul, and Nomo now has a 10-2 lead. There's the list. Juan Gonzalez and my former teammate, Hall of Famer Harmon Killebrew, 5th on that list.
Kitty, you've talked before about pitching to the scoreboard. Well, if Nomo goes about that, there won't even be signage from the catcher. It'll just be a target right down the middle. Make the other team come out and beat you.
I mentioned, and they showed a highlight on the scoreboard early of Thurman Munson, Rookie of the Year in 1970. In the brief time I did get to pitch to Tugboat. You know, these are the situations right now you wouldn't get a sign. You just get wave. Here it is. Throw it in here. Throw a little batting practice. See how far they can hit it. Hit it hard. Base hit. But you'd rather do that than give up a base on balls, and you're giving up a base hit to probably the hottest hitter in the American League right now. Now his career high 12-game hitting streak.
offensively, you have some things happen. Sheffield just got his hit earlier in the game. 9-game hitting streak. Hideki got a hitting streak. Cheater's hitting the ball well. Cano's hitting the ball well.
Here's Giambi. I'm interested in your comments when we see Hideki's swing there. That's high for a ball, because when his first year with the Yankees, that pitch, he was kind of rolling it over and grounding out to second base a lot. But now you'll see him go down and get this pitch. Yeah, I think it looks like just a simple keeping the weight back.
A lot of times, I mean, I've heard the story that he hadn't seen a lot of sinker balls over in Japan, and to hit from a left hander to hit a right-handed sinker, you really have to stay through the ball. If you get to the ball and come off of it, which it looked like he was doing the first year over here, you're just going to ground it out time and time again. And if you look at that pitch last night that he hit out, that low changeup, I mean, he got to that ball and he stayed through it, and that's why you drive the ball out. You don't. As soon as you come off and roll off the ball, you do nothing but top it and ground out to second base.
In for a strike, and the difference watching his swing right now is how level it is. Here's the home run last night.
And again, if you looked at his weight and stuff, I mean, he was fooled. He was out front, but his bat stayed through the zone. And
high to right field. Is it deep enough? Huff back at the warning track. It's going to hold up. Jason Giambi just missed a 2-run homer. But that's the advantage with the 10-2 lead. Fire it in there and make them hit it.
Good pitch to hit. You're right. He just got under it.
Bernie Williams will step in now. That's in for a strike. Give you an idea how rare tonight's game is. You see Bernie's first appearance, he did knock in a run with a sacrifice fly. And Bernie right now, despite the Yankees being way down in the scoreboard, another RBI is quite a milestone for him. He would tie Tony Lazzeri, who's a famous name in Yankee history, for 7th place on the RBI list. But the rarity of tonight's game, Randy Johnson, the last time he had an outing this short, almost 5 years ago against the Mets, and it's only the 11th time in his career, and I would expect his starts are closing in on 500, that he has failed to go 3 innings. Now you couple that with the offense of the Devil Rays, that's in for a strike. In their history, they have scored 10 runs 10 times, 3 times against the Yankees. So after it seemed like the Yankees the early years would go 17-2, 16-3, now suddenly the Devil Rays are playing them like they're the championship team.
You know, barring that nothing's wrong with Randy and he's back out there in 5 days pitching like his old self, you know, you look at this game and think it's not going to make or break our season. We're getting pounded by the Devil Rays, but all of a sudden it creeps back in your mind where you were a week ago, and that's, you wonder what team is going to be there a month from now. Is it going to be that team that just came off the road, or that team that, you know, had something going here for the first 6 games of this homestand?
Tap toward third. Gonzalez short hop, off balance throw, gets Bertie as Matsui advances to second. You know, oftentimes when a team is on a winning streak, you'll hear people say, well, who are they beating? They're beating the tail end teams. Well, that's who you're supposed to beat.
Exactly
so
right.
the Yankees know that when Tampa Bay comes in here, that's the time I think you almost as a player have to gear yourself up and think, this is the 7th game of the World Series. We need that. I mean, you can naturally get up to the Red Sox.
Well, and there's no doubt that, you know, you're going to play a lot of games against the Red Sox, and you're going to play a lot of games against Baltimore. And if you play the way you should, Baltimore's going to kind of trickle down back to you. But Boston's going to be there. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the world champions are getting Schilling back. We'll talk about this next inning. All right, Kenny?
All right. We go to the lead. Flaherty retired. Matsui gets a base hit. Yankees have 2 runs and 4 hits. through 4. The Devil Rays have 10. They lead it 10-2.
O's got 5 in the first against the Jays. They lead that 6-1. Now back to the Bronx.
All right, thank you, Bob. Devil Rays lead this one 10-2. Scott Proctor in his second inning of work on the Chevy scoreboard. Shocking numbers on a night that Randy Johnson started for the Yankees. That's in for a strike. Of course, on Yes, we have our Nissan post-game show with Kimberly Jones getting interviews in the clubhouse. And it'll be interesting to see what Joe Torre's comments are. I think one of the things I'm curious about finding out is, was Randy Johnson feeling good when he took the mound tonight? He didn't look like himself. And when you see a guy not use his power fastball as much as he's accustomed to, you wonder if he did have something wrong with him.
That'll be the main concern after the game. It's not whether you won or lost tonight, but you need Randy Johnson in your rotation throughout the year. And obviously, where the Yankees are now, and I was talking about it last inning, you're starting to dig a hole, and it's not just with Baltimore in first place, but you don't want to get those games between you and Boston, because Boston, as you see a good curveball there, Boston is a team that's going to be there, and that's the team that's going to be tougher to come back against than the Orioles, who aren't accustomed to being in first place in the first place.
Proctor records a strikeout in the top of the 5th. There's Crawford. High for a ball. Well, when you have pitchers on your staff that have some miles on them and a little history of some back problems over the course of a year, we are seeing with Kevin Brown right now, they're probably going to go through a period of time where they're not feeling 100%. Probably the advantage of the wild card in these days is you can fouled out a play by Crawford, 2-1. You can win 80, 88, 92 games and kind of conserve your pitchers, get into postseason, and then if they're healthy, the Yankees have the kind of pitchers that can shut teams down the postseason. Veteran Mike Stanton.
If you look what's going on in baseball this year, I mean, it was assumed every year the last 6 or 7 years that, see that base hit up the middle, that the Yankees and Boston, whoever won, and the other one would be the wild card. But that's not the way the league's setting up this year. I mean, the American League Central, with Minnesota and Chicago both throwing up big numbers in the win column already, that wild card is going to be up for grabs. That's not necessarily going to come from the American League East this year.
No, the West and the Central both have a couple teams that will be competitive in that. Minnesota Twins. And there's the flag of the White Sox, and the Texas Rangers next to them, also an improved ball club. Here's Lugo. Alex's strong throw to Giambi in time as Crawford advances to second. There's 2 away in the Devil Ray 5th. .42 pitches in the second inning. A timely call up by the Yankees. If you missed it, they called Scott Proctor up before the game, sent down Bubba Crosby. The speculation was that maybe Tanyan Sturtz would start against the Mets on Saturday, but Joe said doesn't want to take him out of his place. So right now, no official starter name for Saturday, but you would assume maybe Sean Henn will get another crack at it. There's the young lefty.
Well, I think you'll know by tomorrow, because if you use a lot of people in the pen tonight, if they're not ready to start him on Saturday, then you're going to get some more help there in the bullpen tomorrow.
Another slider, and we mentioned the pitch count. There's another thing that can kind of handcuff a manager. You got a hard thrower like Scott Proctor, and you come out of the bullpen and it's already 7-2. As you see Mel with the pitch count clicker. For third. Alex with a strong arm. Gets Cantu by a stride. Proctor pitches a scoreless fifth. We head to the bottom of the fifth at the stadium. The Yankees still down 10-2.
A Yankee player hits at Yankee Stadium. Circuit City will donate $1,000 to Joe Torre's Safe at Home Foundation as a part of Samsung's Four Seasons of Hope. For more information, please visit fourseasonsofhope.com and an updated home run tracker at yesnetwork.com.
There's a Chevy scoreboard that shows the Devil Rays leading at 10-2 as Cano leads off bottom of the fifth, takes a strike from Nomo. Just outside for a ball and a strike. Be interested in your comments, just reading the promo on Joe Torre's Safe at Home Foundation. Deep to right, if it's fair. It is just foul.
I'll tell you, nobody's arguing, but from our view, it looked fair, didn't it? We must have a bad angle here.
Yeah, you can see it just missed the pole and the screen out there, so it's 1-2 to Cano. You had a chance to play for Lou Piniella for how many years you played for Lou? 4 or 5?
Couple, yeah. We won in '90, and then I came back in '91, and I think then he was done in '92.
Into the bat with that one out into right center. Huff over to make the catch. Incidentally, speaking of the Reds, from a baseball news standpoint, today they dismissed their manager Dave Miley, and pitching coach ex-Yankee Don Gullett replaced him with ex-Yankee Jerry Narron, who will now be the manager, and Vern Rule the pitching coach. But the differences, I mean, we know the differences emotionally when we see Lou and Joe, but from a player's standpoint, in actually handling a ball club, running a ball club, what give us your views on that.
I love the enthusiasm, the intensity that Lou Piniella brought, and we needed that in Cincinnati. I mean, we were kind of 4 or 5 second-place finishes, and all of a sudden Lou Piniella got us over the hump with just bringing in the winning atmosphere he had, come to know here in New York.
Jeter gets a hit as Gonzalez can't flag it down. Derek's 2 for 3.
But then you look at the ups and downs and what happens in New York City sometimes, and Joe Torre was absolutely the perfect manager. You don't watch Derek hit the ball hard. Sometimes they even find holes in gloves. Right. But I mean, he was so good at handling things that went on in New York City, and that's why he was the perfect guy for this team when we went through that run.
Both terrific hitters. Joe, a former MVP. Womack right up the middle. Tony got a base hit. Jeter will stop at second.
And you talk about, the hitting contrast of him. I mean, Joe Torre was a guy who just showed up, was a great hitter, knew it, had a lot of confidence in himself, and just went out and played baseball and put up big numbers, where Lou Piniella studied hitting, the mechanics of hitting. And, if you ask Don Mattingly, one guy that changed his hitting when he came to major leagues, he gives a lot of credit to Lou Piniella, and that's all of the fundamentals. And now that I play golf a lot now, you'll see the different guys just go out and feel the ball, and the guys that are so technical on mechanics and things like that.
There's Sheffield 2 on 1 out. Yankees down 8, but it's given the crowd a reason to make a little noise. Outside for a ball. They both, each team employs a hitting coach. Obviously, the Yankees have an outstanding hitting coach who was an outstanding player in Don Mattingly, and the Devil Rays hitting coach is Lee Elia, who was a big league player, but not necessarily not in Mattingly's class as a hitter. Inside 2-0, and I'm wondering, even though they're managers and they have hitting coaches, how often did each of them intervene and give you a little hitting tip?
There were times when you'd go through, I mean, the everyday thing, Joe would not say much about hitting, where Lou would call you in and day out in his office and give you, certain thoughts and things like that. But if you were really down, if you really were struggling, it wouldn't. I mean, Joe would come to you, call in the office, and talk to you about certain things. And when you hear you're hitting instructions from your manager, for some reason there's an emphasis on it, and it always I always felt good after I talked hitting to the manager.
Saw Nomo's pitch count there nearing 70. That's in for a strike, 2-1. I remember one of Joe's favorite sayings is, with 2 strikes they got to jam me. He was so protective with 2 strikes. And Lou was a master at taking that outside pitch and hitting it the opposite way, and could really use the whole field. Great situational hitter. And pretty shrewd at picking up pitchers' patterns. Deep to left. Gone. Halfway back. It's 10-5.
Some guys are just fun to watch hit, and Gary Sheffield with men on, you know he's going to get his money's worth out there. Just an absolute laser to left field.
Last situation called for a base hit. He delivered, and now a 3-run homer. And again, Lou Piniella can hear those footsteps as Nomo has given up 5 runs here, and he's not out of the 5th inning yet. Chad Orvella, another one of those, or one of 4 pitchers the Devil Rays have recently brought up. Just Double-A experience.
We're going to have to run down and get some scouting reports on this guy.
You see that graphic, the 426th of Gary's career. As A-Rod takes low for a ball. 26 ahead of A-Rod, and that ties him with a Hall of Famer and one of the sweetest swingers that I had the privilege, if you can call it that, of pitching against in the minor leagues, Billy Williams from the Cubs. In for a strike, 1-1. That's 35th place all time. Towards short. Lugo gobble it up. Travis Lee, 2-way. Paul, you know how there's certain moments in, say, your minor league career where you'll face a pitcher and he's real tough, and you'll say, man, boy, I don't know if I'm in over my head. Well, in the minor leagues, you know, as a left-hander and throwing fairly hard, you kind of prided yourself on a left-hand hitter couldn't pull you.
Right.
And when I first faced Billy Williams and threw him my best fastball, he pulled it about 30 feet foul, 400 feet down the line. I said, this AAA might be a little, but nobody could turn on an inside fastball like Billy Williams. Here's Hideki. Eye for a ball.
Speaking of the Cubs down on the field today, I heard some Cubs stories from Don Zimmer again, who's in town with the Devil Rays.
There he is.
There's Zim. Look at that shirt.
Wow.
I guarantee his soot his wife dressed him today. Look at Zim.
What do you mean today? Center field, into the bat. Hollins with a late start, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. And suddenly, what looked pretty dim for the Yankees with that little bloop single gets Giambi to the plate. And they can see the Devil Rays taillights.
You know, Kitty, when things are going good, even the balls you hit off the end of the bat fall in. And that's what keeps it going good, because you keep throwing up hits and your confidence stays in there.
Giambi just missed a home run in his last at bat. I mean, he just got under it. And fly to deep right field. Inside for a ball.
You know, it's a manager's thing to try to get a pitcher through that 5th inning so he's eligible for that win if you're ahead. But I guarantee Lou's not going to be too patient with guys that are,
and if as a starter you got no beef. If you got a 10-2 lead and you don't work your way through the 5th inning, the pitcher knows he deserves to come out. Hit well, but foul. Boy, Giambi is right on him.
Again, we said most of the balls that are hit hard, you'll watch the catcher's glove and they move it across the plate.
1-1, 2 out. Hideki at first. Yankees are now down 5. They were down 10-2. In for a strike, 1-2.
You know what's funny is now that I'm watching these on monitors and stuff, when you're up there hitting, you don't realize how much pitchers miss. And it really gives you a different perspective. And who comes to mind is Mussina, how he doesn't miss and how hard it is from 60 foot 6 inches to put that ball exactly where you want it.
Another good swing, and Giambi just missed.
When I was watching him pitch the other day on the monitor, I mean, he seldom misses the catcher's glove by more than an inch or two. And it's an unbelievable thing to watch a pitcher when they have pinpoint control.
Giambi has flied deep to right, and in this at bat he has been right on a couple of no-mo pitches, but he's behind in the count, 1-2. Hit well, left center field. Holland's coming on, is going to play that on a hop. Matsui will stop at second. And now Bernie Williams coming up with 2 on and 2 out. And Lou's chewing that gum with a little more vigor.
Is he going to give him one more hitter, or is that going to be it? Again, not necessarily hit real hard, but they're starting to place the ball out there, and you're used to seeing a lot of these balls tracked down by the Devil Ray outfielder. Nomo's probably thinking the same thing. If I could just get one more out, I get through this inning.
Bernie with the sacrifice fly. Picked up an RBI. Down the right field line. That's fair. That's going to score Matsui. Bernie headed for second with a double. Giambi will stop at third. It's 10-6.
This is when it becomes fun to be on the team coming back, because all of a sudden the momentum's changed, and it's almost like a train that the other team can't stop. And you know, you're setting yourself up to come back and win a game that you're not accustomed to winning, and that's when you start to build confidence of being able to come back and beat teams when you're behind.
You saw Lou took one step out of the dugout and had that right arm. When we come back after the break, we'll
up there, and you see the Yankees up there, and you see Texas up there, who's also having a good year. And you don't expect teams like that to be in the worst ERA.
There you see Arvella's numbers, and right here we're going to look at Bernie's RBI. That's his second of the night, and that is the 1,154th of his career, and that ties Tony Lazzeri. There's a famous name in Yankee history. 7th on the all-time list.
You know, if you ask Bernie who Tony Lazzeri was, he'd think he's a guitar player. Right. I guarantee it.
Well, I'll tell you, if he gets one more hit, he's going to know who he tied. Yogi Berra. That's who he's one hit away from tying on the all-time Yankee hit list. And now Jorge Posada will pinch hit for John Flaherty. Can you imagine what's going through young Chad Orvella's mind? He's 24 years old, just called up from Double-A.
Oh, Lordy.
High for a ball, and he reminds me, he was a shortstop at North Carolina State, and if he turns out to be as good as another college shortstop. He might have quite a career, and that was Trevor Hoffman. He was a shortstop at Arizona.
You know, it's funny. Zim told me they had 3 or 4 guys on their pitching staff that don't even shave. He looks like one of them. Huh?
Right.
It's like he's about 12 years old out there.
2-0. Right from Double-A Montgomery and into the heat here in Yankee Stadium. Two and one.
Another changeup.
Giambi at third. Got a 2-out hit. Bernie with that memorable RBI, his second of the game with a double. Hideki Matsui got a hit before that. And the big blow, Gary Sheffield's 3-run homer. High 3-1. Hitters count for Posada. Cano on deck. So I guess, Paul, this is where that hitter looks for that fastball in a particular zone. And if it's not there, you take it. If it is, you have a home run swing.
Well, I know what Georgie's looking for. He's looking for that fastball in the inner half right now.
Ball 4. The tying run is coming to the plate. Would you believe it? And Lou Piniella says, will you please go out and tell him to throw the ball over? A 10-2 lead with veteran Hideo Nomo on the mound, and it looked like the Devil Rays were on their way again. And the Yankees are getting back in it.
You know, you don't see too many teams that are scurrying to hang on when you got a 4-run lead.
Yeah.
You know, but right here you can see that the tide has turned here. I mean, the Yankees look like that one more hit and they're going to bust this game wide open.
And for a rookie, they have as relaxed a hitter in the batter's box as you would want. Nomo, who has 200 career wins combined in Japan, and here is already in one of the Hall of Fames over in Japan, but looked like he had an easy chance to pick up a win tonight. And he will not be the pitcher of record, pitching 4 2/3. Giambi at third, Bernie at second, Posada at first, Cano the tying run. We're in the bottom of the 5th. High, ball 1. Boy, hitter's delight. You know you're going to get a fastball. At least you think you are, because there's not any more room to put them. Off-speed pitch. Gutsy pitch by Orvella, 1-1.
Not afraid to throw that changeup. He threw a couple to Georgie last count. You said they called up, what, 3 or 4 guys from Double-A?
4 guys from Double-A. They have Lance Carter, who pitched last night, Travis Harper, who have some experience, but 4 inexperienced relievers. In on the handle. And now Orvella has Cano in a 1-2 count. Travis Harper, one of the veterans on the Devil Rays staff, begins to loosen up. Lou's got some words for his pitching coach. Reminds me of Billy and Art Fowler.
Just, do you know anything about this guy? Is he going to get us out of this or not?
1-2. Sharply, but right at Cantu. Catches it off the shoe tops. So Robinson Cano hit it well, but right at Cantu. But this is the swing that got the Yankees back in the game. Gary Sheffield, 426 to his career. And after 5, 10-6 Devil Rays. And with the Devil Rays having a couple of left-handers coming up. Aubrey Huff, then Travis Lee. Joe Torre will match him up with a lefty. Mike's been quite a durable left-hander in his career. He's closing in on 1,000 appearances.
I just heard that 900 and so that's a lot of games.
Well, there's Jesse Orozco, who well over 1,000.
Yeah, I faced him about 999 of them.
Pitch in for a strike to Huff. A couple of hops out towards second. Cano gobbles it up and tosses out Aubrey Huff. Well, tomorrow afternoon on Yes, the Yankees and Devil Rays will face off at a special day game start time. Our coverage begins at 12:30 with Nancy Newman in the Tri-State Quality Ford pregame. And then join Paul O'Neill and me for all the action at 1. And remember, you can catch the game again tomorrow night at 9:30 on WB Mason Presents Yankees Encore. Yankees and the Devil Rays tomorrow only on Yes. As Tanyan Sturtz heats up for the right-hand hitters.
I was hoping you'd say 7 o'clock. I was supposed to tee off tomorrow.
I know.
Freddie Couples.
Wow.
What an honor.
I'll tell you what. I'd be for you to get a chance to do that. I'd be willing to work the game alone. That's got to be some thrill. I'd like to do it. Good swing there by Lee. Fouled straight back. Freddie, quite a baseball fan. As you see, Tiger in attendance with Kevin James. Freddie's caddy, Joe LaCava, I would think might be at the game tonight. He is an avid New York sports fan.
You know, I talked to him. I was in Muirfield a couple weeks ago, and I walked some holes with him. And you talk about a fan. I mean,
yeah.
He knows everybody. Stats, what they're doing, what's wrong. Boy, he was as concerned as anybody. Didn't care what the heck Freddie was doing during the practice round, but he wanted to know what was wrong with the Yankees.
Another good swing by Lee, fouled straight back, and Stanton has him in a 1-2 hole. When I say a good swing, and people at home say, well, what do you mean good? Anytime you see a hitter foul the ball straight back, you figure he's on time and he's had a good swing at it.
As a hitter, though, when I fouled it straight back, I always thought, man, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting that same pitch back.
Loop toward the line. Sheffield has to play it on a hop. And Lee reaches out and taps the Stanton breaking ball into right field for a 1-out single. As you see behind the plate, Posada has stayed in to take over the catching after pinch hitting for John Flaherty.
Breaking ball stays up just high enough you can get your arms around it and pull it in right field.
I wonder if they're trying to buy some time. Well, Sturtz is just standing there right now, so maybe they might be buying some time with Gomes in the batter's box and Hollins on deck. Yep, that's what they're doing. Joe must have got the favorable call from Neil Allen. And he'll make the change right here.
The way this is going, I don't think this is going to be Joe's last turn out there.
Last trip to the mound nor lose. Or no. Chuck Hernandez.
That's what we should do to start keeping score here between Lou and Joe.
Mike Stanton gets 1 out, gives up a hit. And Tanyan Sturtz will come on to take over the pitching. We're in the top of the 6th, 1 out. Tampa Bay leads at 10-6. Back after this. Strikeout Kids Cancer by making a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund and the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital of New York Presbyterian. If you would like to contribute along with the Tri-State Hyundai dealers, call 212-305-1420. Let's strike out children's cancer. Johnny Gomes, who has made an impression in this series already, walked 3 times last night, has a 2-run homer off Randy Johnson tonight, will step in with 1 on and 1 out. Here goes Lee. Pitch inside. Posada, quick release. Got him. Wow. What a tag by Cano.
I think Lou's thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Usually the ball will, beat the guy on the front side. This looks like, the tag obviously on his feet.
Very nice. Nice camera shot as well. Boy, that's great stuff. And you notice that Lee did not look in, so it wasn't a hit and run. It was a straight steal. And of course, in a game like this, if you're Lou Piniella, you like to get that 5th run. He knows a grand slam homer in the last inning would have tied it. Fouled out of play, and it's 2-1 to Gomes.
Tanya Sturts was a former Devil Ray, so they know a lot about him. Slow jack caught stealing. Take a look at this great tag. Great tag there by Cano.
See the tag on Travis Lee's backside before he got his hand into the bag. That's low, and it's 3-1 to Gomes. '27th game for Tanyan, and outstanding numbers. Just 4 walks. Wow. Line shot to left field. I guess, you know, I mentioned the Yankee scouting reports must have said what good fastball hitters these guys are, because we've seen a high number of breaking balls, and there's an example of it. Of course, that's a 3-1 count. And Johnny Gomes right on time. 13th hit of the night for the Devil Rays. And here's the guy that got him on the board, Damon Hollins. Big night for him, 2 for 3 and 4 RBIs.
It doesn't look 31 years old.
No.
You sure you're right about that?
That's what I've been told. Couple of hops toward third. Alex will take the short way to Cano. And for the 2nd inning in a row, Tampa Bay held scoreless. Yankees within 4, coming to bat in the bottom of the 6th. Derek Jeter will lead it off.
9:30 with WB Mason presents the Yankee Encore, only on Yes.
Well, he's seen him in postseason play, probably glued to the TV set in October, and now Chad Orvella gets to face Derek Jeter. With the Devil Rays leading by 4, bottom of the 6th. Hit well, deep left center. Back is Hollins. He's looking up. It is gone. A long home run by Derek Jeter. It is home run derby night. And it's now 10-7 Tampa Bay.
Get me over fastball. First pitch right out of there. Well, Derek Jeter's not much for taking pitches. He took this one all the way out. As Buddy Tiger in the stands, he's go ahead and hit a home run for him.
Wow. Like one of Tiger's drives. Here's Womack. Yeah. Tiger appreciates that.
You know, Jeter's only a triple away from the cycle.
Wow.
Way it's
1-1 to Womack.
Way it's going, he's got about 4 more bats tonight, huh?
His 9th of the year. Off speed pitch. Well, you have to go back and you remember this game, and Joe just called it to our attention here. I remember it was Alex Fernandez. He had the Yankees down 8-0. I think it was the 3rd inning. And you ended up winning the game 9-8. I remember Andy Fox hustled out an infield dribble or something, keep the inning alive. Womack down on strikes, and he continues to struggle. I'm really surprised that Tony has not tried to drop down a bunt with his speed and the way he's struggling at the plate. Gary Sheffield, he has 4 RBIs already tonight. It was his 3-run homer in the last inning that really gave the Yankees some hope. Ball 1. That 3-run homer, if you missed it, tied him for 35th place with Hall of Famer Billy Williams. Ball and a strike. Travis Harper getting ready. One and two. One thing about veteran hitters like Sheffield, even though it's 1 and 2, they're not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. They still have pretty good discipline, have the ability to. In fact, I know Sheff has mentioned before. He said, if I'm up there in a situation where I just have to get an RBI, not strike out, I mean, I guess his determination keeps him from doing it. That's for a guy who swings as hard as he does. He does not strike out very often.
What you've seen from Orvella's fastball changeup, I haven't seen a big breaking ball yet. So,
no.
You know, Sheff obviously hasn't faced him. He's just being called up, but that's in the back of your mind. And if they snap
foul
off a breaking ball on you, then what do you do other than tip your hat? But right now, what's in your book is what you've seen tonight, and that's his fastball changeup.
Gary's walked 45 times. He struck out 37. Anytime you got a power hitter that walks more than he strikes out, that's a good number. Popped up into the bat. Short center. Holland's got a late break, but he's got time to recover. And puts it away 2 out.
Well, Kitty, we just opened the book again because that looked like a slider. A little 86-mile-an-hour slider.
Yeah. And now Chad Orvella gets to face another brand name hitter. Alex Rodriguez steps in. Probably watched Alex out in Seattle. That's where Chad's from, out in the great Northwest. In for strike. Figured he was a shortstop that didn't hit too well. That's what the case was with Trevor Hoffman in college, and he became one of the premier shortmen in baseball. Inside, 1-1.
Talked about changeups and good changeup with Keith Folk last night. We mentioned it. And Trevor Hoffman, a closer, probably the best changeup in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his out pitch. He wasn't that. Had a good fastball, don't get me wrong, but his out pitch was his changeup.
1-2. I noticed every one of Orvella's pitches is a little different. Again, whether the radar gun is accurate is one thing, but the fact that the speeds are different tells you that there's a little something different for the hitter to look at.
I don't know if that's his slider or what. It doesn't break much. Might just be a little cutter, but I mean, that's 85, 86, where his fastball's 92, 93.
Right field, Huff has room near the track. And the Yankees climb within 3 on Derek Jeter's 9th home run of the season. We head to the 7th. 10-7 Tampa Bay. Now we head to the top of the 7th inning. The lead is now down to 3. A quick reminder, don't miss a holiday afternoon special. That's Monday, July 4th. The Yankees will host the Orioles. And the first 18,000 fans, as Kevin Cash takes a strike from Tanyan Sturtz. If you're 14 and under, you receive a Derek Jeter t-shirt courtesy of Majestic Athletic. Tickets going fast. Visit the stadium ticket windows, clubhouse shops, call Ticketmaster. Tapped foul outside of third. It'll be 0-2. The Ticketmaster number 212-307-1212, or log on to Yankees.com and get your Derek Jeter t-shirt courtesy of Majestic Athletic. As you see in the IO digital cable scoreboard, the Yankees have come back from a 10-2 deficit to get within 3. High 1-2, and I'd say walking around the city, the Derek Jeter T-shirts far outnumber anything else that's going.
They have for years, too.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't a first-time thing.
I mean, you even see them now. You got little kids in strollers who are walking, you know, with their nannies.
Little
or
Jeters.
Right.
Huh?
2-2 to Cash. Yep. You won't get that uniform shirt, but you get a T-shirt to put under it. Cash down on strikes. Boy, and Tanyan Sturts has gotten back on track a little bit. Had a couple of hiccups there, one in St. Louis and one here in a game against the Pirates that the Yankees came back. But now he knows the importance of shutting down this lineup for another inning and forcing Lou Piniella to get deeper into that bullpen. Here's Gonzalez. Strike one, outside corner. Alex, longtime shortstop for the Blue Jays. Sure-handed, accurate arm, playing third base here for the Devil Rays with Julio Lugo at short. That's fouled out of play, 0-2.
You know, back to the popularity of Jeter. I mean, you were through here. I mean, you saw DiMaggio play. You saw Mickey Mantle play. I mean, his popularity to them in their time. I mean, the same, more, just more marketing in the game. I don't know.
Hit well. Went down, got an 0-2 pitch, and laced it out the left field where Womack cuts it off, and Gonzalez has a 1-out single. Well, I think with the marketing in the game, we get another look at the pitch, and he missed his target. Posada wanted that splitter down and away, and it came down and in. With the marketing in the game, you know, Mickey, I think, was much more of a national figure.
Right.
You know, right now I think teams market within their, you know, within their own area. I mean,
Right.
you go to Minnesota, you're going to see a lot of Torrey Hunter shirts. You know? But you know, I think on a national scale, nobody was more popular than Mickey.
How many kids are running around named Mickey because their parents
Right.
named him after Mickey Mantle? I mean, it was all over.
Carl Crawford's had quite a night. 3 for 4, triple, couple singles. It's been a hitter's night. 17 runs, 25 hits. Eye for ball, 1-0. Would expect that Lou Piniella will get his running game back in motion again as the Devil Rays have been shut down the last 2 innings. Inside third base between Alex Rodriguez and the bag, and that's going to be in for a long single as Womack got over. Now Gonzalez, not blessed with speed, made a big turn at second, and Tony Womack did a nice job getting over there to cut it off, keep the double play in order.
You know, the funny thing, Crawford was almost to second base. He probably could have beat Gonzalez to third if they would have raced from where they were. I mean, some things you just can't defense. I mean, this ball slapped the other way. Left-handed hitter, you got to play him the other way a little bit.
There you see Womack come into your picture, and there's Crawford says, oops, put the brakes on. So a nice play by Tony Womack. Hasn't been hitting well, but that's an important play there to keep the double play in order. And one of the Rays' best clutch hitters, Julio Lugo, will step in. Low for a ball.
Yeah, I mean, you as a team, you got to know you got to shut them down now. There's got to be an inning where you get out of a jam without getting up and running. You don't want this to be another one of those nights where you battled back, but you came short again. And right now, you still got 3 runs to make up, and you can't afford to go down 4 or 5 because it's just you start running out of time.
See Roy White moving Bernie Williams over a little bit in center field, and Buddy Groom heating up in the bullpen. Should Aubrey Huff come to the plate this inning? On the corner, 1-1. Along with Paul O'Neill, I'm Jim Cott. Happy to have you with us here in the YES Network. And if you thought you'd see a pitcher's duel tonight between Hideo Nomo and Randy Johnson, well, you did for one inning, and that's kind of where it ended. Randy was not himself. Gave up 3 home runs. Devil Rays took a 10-2 lead early in the game. Sheffield 3-run homer, a Jeter solo shot. The Yankees have battled back. They trail by 3. Devil Rays threatening here again in the 7th. Good swing by Lugo. And fouls it straight back, 1-2.
You can take highlight rules for both teams and think you've had a blowout either way, but all of a sudden you throw up 26 hits and match them up against each other, and you got a 10-7 game in the 7th inning. 26 hits between them. That doesn't sound right, does it?
Fouled out of play. Mentioned earlier in the game that the Devil Rays went through a stretch this season where 31 games they had scored at least 5 runs, and their winning percentage was under 500. So that's why you see Lou pacing that dugout and changing pitchers. No lead safe. Out in front of the plate, but foul. And Lugo stays alive.
Lou gets frustrated by pitchers because he was a hitter. He was an everyday player. And I remember many times in Cincinnati, you'd come in after a game and he'd be, just screaming and yelling about the pitching. And then before the conversation was over and he went into his office, he's had a way to battle, guys, way to score some runs. And, he left with a good feeling that, you offensive guys, you're doing your part. It's just the pitchers that aren't holding us in there.
Sliced out into right field. That'll fall in for a hit. Gonzalez held at third. And the Devil Rays have them loaded again, threatening to add to that lead. 16th hit of the game. As Mel trots out to have a word with Sturtz. Move back over the middle just enough for. Well, I'll tell you, this guy can hit with men on base.
Yeah, I like their approach with guys on base. I mean, none of them are trying to do too much other than, drive the ball the other way or put it and play hard somewhere.
And it doesn't get any easier. Cantu step in. He's a 300 hitter. Good comment about Lou. That's why there's so many catchers that manage in baseball. It's hard for a guy who's hated pitchers his whole life to manage and suddenly have enough patience with them and be able to manage them. Not good numbers with the bases loaded, but you can't tell the Yankee pitchers that. He's hit well against them. Ball 1. Got his first home run here in his big league career last year off El Duque. Buddy Groom ready to face Aubrey Huff, who's on deck.
Other than Aubrey Huff, we talked about it before. Cantu is the guy offensively that they believe has more talent than anybody out here. And these are the guys that, in the future you're going to see with 25, 30 home runs, drive in 100 runs. Being an infielder, you don't see that very often.
Strike at the knees, count even at 1-1. Toward third, nice play by Alex. He'll get one. Not in time. Oh, a great effort, but just could not quite get enough on the throw to complete the double play. And the Blue Jays pick up a run. It's 11-7, but that could have been a bases clearing double.
I'll tell you whether they made a double play or not. Sometimes you just you can't make a better play than this. Knowing what to do with the ball before it got there. Tremendous play, just ran out of time. Two got down the line too quick.
Yeah, that he got one out, and the Devil Rays scored one run, but that play saved three. Saved an additional two. And two out now with two on, and Joe Torre will make another pitching change. Left-hander Buddy Groom to come on to face Aubrey Field. Explore the life and career of all-star third baseman Greg Nettles. Go inside the pinstripes for a look at the Yankees' seventh team captain who handled the hot corner for the championship squads of the 70s. Yankeeography. Greg Nettles, Saturday at 8. Only on Yes. There's a shot of Puff making a play similar to the one A-Rod just made. And boy, did Ron Guidry love to have him at third base. Buddy Groom to Aubrey Huff. In the air to short right. Sheffield will put it away. One pitch for Buddy Groom to retire the Devil Rays. Great player by A-Rod to avoid further damage for the Yankees. But as we head to the bottom of the seventh, it's Tampa Bay 11. The Yankees 7 right now. Let's go to the voice of Yankee Stadium, Bob Shepard.
And please offer a moment of silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women who are stationed around the globe. And please also remember all of those who have lost their lives defending our freedom and our way of life. And now,
bottom of the seventh, and young Chad Orvella trying to make his most impressive performance for the Devil Rays. You check out the IO Digital scoreboard. Devil Rays have been held scoreless 3 times, the Yankees twice. Another big night for Hideki is suddenly that average up to 295. Outside for a ball.
The impressive thing is Hideki's had that time where, you know, he wasn't producing a lot offensively, but if you look up, 54 RBIs and, you know, top 10 in the league probably, and it's just he has a knack for picking up runs, getting big hits, and right now when you're hot, you fill in those other categories as far as average and home runs.
2-0. The Devil Ray pitching staff gives up more runs, issues more walks than any staff in the league. They had a comfortable 10-2 lead tonight. It's at 11-7, so big challenge for them here those last 3-0.
You know, Hideki taking over the DH role over the past week or so. I mean, that's all of a sudden Tino, you know, you lose the luxury of the DH being able to get Tino and Giambi, but I tell you what, the way he's swinging the bat, he might be there for a while.
It's in for a strike. I thought Tino was in the original lineup tonight, but he's been bothered a little bit by a foot problem. So I think Joe waits to see how he can move around. If the Yankees have the lead and he gets in the game, then you'll know that everything's okay. He'd go in for defense. Foul, full count. Devil Rays 11 runs. They have 16 hits. The Yankees have 7 runs and 11 hits. And way back when, Randy Johnson and Hideo Nomo, a couple of veterans, started this game. Got him. Fastball by Orvella in a good spot. And the youngster's impressive here. Strikes out Matsui to start the 7th.
And you're right, Kitty. It's in the right spot. There's a little hole in every left-hander's, you know, and if you don't hit it, it could be dangerous. But right there under the hands, tough pitch to hit.
High and tight, low and away. Get your breaking ball over when you're behind in the count, and you can pitch in the big leagues. Here's Giambi.
So, Kitty, does that mean if if I can hit the ball down and away or an up and in, and I can hit a curveball in a fastball count, then you can hit in the big league.
Say that again. If you can hit the pitch up and in and down and away and hit a breaking ball
in a fastball count,
then
you can play in the big
And what
league.
did you hit lifetime?
Oh, I don't know.
Close to 300?
Not good enough.
Well, no, if you did all those, that mean you'd hit 700. But like you said, they're very, you'll notice since you're up here how much pitchers miss the target by. It's a 1-1 count to Giambi, and that's inside. And that's why, you get a chance. You remember Tom Browning when I had Tom coaching in Cincinnati. You get young pitchers and just say, here's the strike zone. Throw 10 fastballs. See if you can throw them over the plate. Anywhere, just in the strike zone. And then if you get where you can do that pretty good, then throw 10 on the outside half, 10 on the inside half, and then you just start working from there. Outside 3-1. But like you said, Mike Messina, when you watch Mike pitch, and he'll look in at the umpire a lot, because when he does miss, it's an almost strike.
Yeah.
It's almost always right there. But even a lot of your successful pitchers, you'll see the target low and away, and they miss the target, and they get by with a high percentage of them if they got enough stuff. Taken all the way, 3-2.
Over the past 15-20 years, you think about pitchers that consistently hit the target, and Eckersley comes to mind, Greg Maddux comes to mind, guys that just have a knack for putting the ball where the catcher's glove is. Mariano, when he's at his best, you'll see George, he doesn't move his glove very often.
Patient at bat by Giambi, draws a 1-out walk. Orvella with ball one. Now it's 3-1. Jason just took that one, and despite the low average, he'll put a patient at bat on a pitcher. And draws a base on balls, get Bernie to play. Bernie's had a memorable night. If you haven't been with us the entire game, couple of RBIs that ties him with Tony Lazzeri, 7th on the all-time Yankee list. In the air to left, playable. Crawford's there. Two-way.
Lou would be unbelievably happy to get through this inning with a young guy, and then you can get some of the guys that have been there for you in the past in there. But I mean, this is a big opportunity. I mean, if you're a pitcher coming up in the Tampa Bay Devil Rays organization, and you show Lou Piniella you can get some outs in a big game at Yankee Stadium, I mean, you're going to get some more opportunities, and the better you do, the bigger name you make for yourself.
That shot you saw in the Devil Ray bullpen was Franklin Nunez, who was reported to throw the ball near 100 miles an hour. Posada with 2 out and 1 on. Outside, ball 1.
Hey, Kitty, you said that if you can throw breaking balls behind in the count, you can pitch in the big league. That 100-mile-an-hour fastball will get you there quick, too.
But if you look at Nunez's numbers, it says several pitches clocked at 100. Check his record.
Yeah.
His ERA is about 7.
Isn't that amazing?
Popped up in the infield. Gonzalez drifts into foul territory and puts it away. So Chad Orvella has restored a little order to the Tampa Bay bullpen. Lou a little calmer now as we head to the top of the 8th inning. Devil Rays lead at 11-7. We move to the top of the 8th. Buddy Groom to Travis Lee. Outside for a ball. On the yes scoreboard, 5-run second inning, kick started by rookie Damon Hollins' 2-run homer. Kevin Cash followed with a solo shot. And then Johnny Gomes in the 3rd with a 2-run home run. All of a sudden Tampa Bay's up 7-1 and 10-2. Lee went in for Eduardo Perez. This hit well left center. Bernie on the run, won't catch it. That's going to find the gap that leads into second with the Devil Rays 18th hit. A leadoff double.
Tell you what, you showed that in-box score, and it looks like a bingo scorecard. There's numbers all over in the in-game box score by your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer, and like we said, there's numbers all over play. Just not on the scoreboard, But in some of the players' columns, 4 for 5, 2 for 4, 2 for 4. I mean, there's all sorts of things going on in that inbox score today.
And the only guy shut down is the franchise leader in all the offensive categories, Aubrey Huff. Let me check that. It's the 17th hit as Gomes takes a strike. Huff, who the last 2 seasons has been the Devil Rays Triple Crown leader, batting average, home runs, RBIs, and the Yankees have shut him down, and they're down 11-7. 1-1. You're talking about control pitchers, and you know, like Catfish, who could hit the glove pretty quick, but that's I think maybe the metal bat, the aluminum bat in amateur ball has taken that pitching art away from pitchers, is that it's so easy with the aluminum bat to dunk in a hit on a fastball. And still, when pitchers get to the big leagues, they found out that the fastball is the only pitch you can throw to all 4 quadrants of the strike zone.
That's the first thing I noticed when you draft out of high school. You've done nothing but hit with aluminum bats, and your first thing you show up to play minor league ball, and your first adjustment, and it takes a while, is getting that wood bat in your hand and knowing that you've got a 2 or 3 inch place to hit that ball to be successful, instead of the whole barrel of the bat, which you do on aluminum.
And for strike 3 and 2. So the first time you really used a wood bat was minor leagues?
Billings, Montana.
Really?
Minor leagues, yeah.
The Mustangs.
The Billings Mustangs, yeah. I hit a grand total of 3 home runs that summer with the new wood bat.
Fouled out of play. Is that the team that Gary Reedus hit like 400 or something?
Yeah, the year before. Yeah.
But there was a great college player at Florida State, NCAA home run champion Jeff Ledbetter. He never made the adjustment. Couldn't hit with a wood bat.
Right. I played against him in AA also.
Right field, Sheffield on. Makes a nice sliding catch, but can't hang on. Nice effort. And Gomes will have another hit. Now the Devil Rays have 18 in first and third with nobody out.
I tell you what, Chef hasn't come up with a couple balls the last couple nights, but you can't fault him for going for him. I mean, he's going all out. He's making an attempt to try to keep things from continuing to go on in this inning. Tough play.
Yeah, this is one of those nights, depending on how well you get along with your teammates. You see the hitting star Damon Holland step in. That home run got him on the board. Good swing, foul back, strike one. I'd have outfielders come in after a game like tonight and say, when are you starting again? Well, I'm starting because we're going to wear our track shoes.
That's right.
You get a lot of running in. Yankees with the infield end trying to keep it at a 4-run deficit. Toward Jeter. He'll take the out at first. Thought for a minute he might go to Cano on that one, but I don't think he could trust the fact that Robinson would get there that quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, when you're playing infield in, you've almost taken it out of your mind. You're going to stop the run, and you've got to look the guy back. And right then, when you look him back, you've almost taken yourself out of the double play because your angles are different. The second baseman's coming at a different angle he would if you were playing a normal double play depth.
First base open now, and here's Kevin Cash. Yeah, I think the only way you go to second there is if you've got a second baseman that's hollering at you.
Right.
Because there's no way Derek can see the runner.
And I think if you're a pitcher there, you appreciate you held the guy on third base. You know, you got that out. Continue to keep that guy on third base and let me have my chances of trying to get out of this without giving up any more runs.
You saw the hitting line on Kevin Cash, an all or nothing, a solo homer in the second off Randy Johnson, and then 3 strikeouts. That misses inside, 1-1. Devil Rays now have 18 hits. That's ties their team high against the Yankees. I read this right, Joe, that this is the most hits ever against the Yankee pitching staff since 1903 at Yankee Stadium. Oh, for the Devil Rays. Oh, okay. They did it a few years ago. The Devil Rays did. 2-2 to Cash.
Kitty, I always wondered this. I mean, say it's the first inning and you're a pitcher, and you know how you get a guy on early, you get him at third base, you play the infield back, and you just concede the run, the ground ball. How many times as a pitcher did you want that infield to come in, not give that run up, and take my chances that I can keep that ball in the infield?
Pulled foul. You mean early in the game?
Early in the game.
No, never. If I had a guy on third in the first or second inning with one out or nobody out, I try to pitch like there's nobody on base.
Is that right?
Because you have to, unless you're going against, say, Randy in his prime or Koufax or Clemens, you have to trust the fact that your team is going to get a few runs.
Right.
And usually if that happens in the first inning, you're going to be facing the number 3 or number 4 hitter. And so I didn't want to give up a ground ball, went for a base hit, and all of a sudden they put a 3 spot on the board instead of holding them to 1. It's a full count now to Cash. And he misses. Walks the light hitting catcher to bring up Alex Gonzalez. With the bases loaded and 1 out. Even with a game like tonight, 10-2, Nomo probably wished that he would have pitched a couple innings like there was nobody on base. And just take your chances. You don't have to win the game 10-2. You can win it 10-5, but make them earn it. Low for a ball.
You looked at Mel Stoudemire on the bench. I mean, this was supposed to be his easy night. You know, when your stud's out on the mound, you're supposed to have an easy night. You don't have to worry about the pitch counter and all that stuff. Now you're sorting out things, doing anything you can to try to stay in this game.
Saw Gonzalez numbers not real effective with the bases loaded. At A-Rod for 1, little trouble getting it out. Nice play by Cano, and they doubled him up. Buddy Groom pitches out of the bases loaded, 1 out, jam. Well, the Yankee fielders had a busy night. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Tampa Bay 11, Yankees 7. In the bottom of the 8th, and it'll be against a new Devil Ray pitcher, Franklin Nunez.
You saw in that in-game box score, Derek Jeter 3 for 4. His next hit, if it's a triple, would be for his second.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure Don Mattingly, as he always does, he's got his little book and he's telling the hitters everything this guy throws. And the one thing he has trouble is throwing strikes. Said that he's had several pitches clocked in the 100-mile-an-hour range. He was up a bit last year. Cano fouls that off, 1 and 2. He just recently recalled. He's one of the quartet that the Devil Rays recalled from the minor leagues. Franklin is 28 years old. He's had some experience in the Phillies organization and the Dodgers. Slider pull foul.
I'll tell you what, if you throw 100 miles an hour and you could throw that slider in on a left-hander's hand like that, there's no reason you should have an ERA like that. As you saw, I mean, Cano's a fastball hitter, a young fastball hitter, and he just fouled the first fastball over the dugout. And then you throw that tight slider in on his hands. That's tough.
Tried to throw it again. Yeah, you got to. There's a perfect example. You mentioned a good fastball. With a fastball like that, if he just spent his time learning to control it in and out, first of all, mostly strikes, He wouldn't have to throw many sliders. Robinson chased that one. The count still level at 2.
I'm a little disappointed, kid. That's only 98. I looked at.
Yeah.
Must be a little stiff tonight.
Doesn't want to get caught speeding. Very relaxed at the plate. In fact, a big at bat when the Yankees were threatening to come back. He was up with the bases loaded and hit it sharply, but right at Jorge Cantu to end the inning. Up the middle, base hit.
You know, if you just look at that at bat, it'll show you what you're going to see in years to come. I mean, you foul off the tough pitches 98 miles away. All of a sudden, you get a pitch just where you want it, out over the plate a little bit. You slap it for a hit. Great swing.
But Derek Jeter will step in with Cano at first, nobody out. Yankees trying to do something they haven't done much this year, and that's come from behind. Derek needs a triple to hit for the cycle. You ever hit for the cycle?
The minor leagues, the big leagues.
Strike one. Know the last Yankee to do it?
Last Yankee to hit for the cycle?
You'd be surprised.
It seems like a weird. What year was it?
95.
95.
Played the same position Derek does. In fact, he kind of took over for him.
Oh, Fernandez?
Tony Fernandez.
Yeah.
1-1 to Derek. September 3rd against the Oakland A's. Tony Fernandez. Two and one. Yeah, with Nunez's history right now, the Yankees lose there is getting a little grayer. Yankees need a couple of patient at bats. Their goal is to get Sheffield and A-Rod up there representing the tying run. Tony Womack waits on deck. In the hole, fourth hit of the night. Cano rounds second. He'll make it to third easily. And the Yankees are trying to come back. And this change right here tells you all you need to know about the troubles that Tony Womack is going through, because Joe Torre will go to his bench and bring up Ruben Sierra.
We've all been through it, Kitty. I mean, there's just certain times where you struggle, and there's certain times that, you know, Joe Torre's got to go right now. They're in a position where they got to try to win games.
Right.
And, you know, you're looking at a hard thrower and a fast.
He looks like he's officiating an Australian rules football game.
It looks like me talking to my kids. Just how, why, this. And, you know, my kids give me the same answers at McLaren, and it's just nothing. They just sit there and look at you.
So Lou's on the top step, and a lot of the fans are on their feet here as the Yankees threatening again. Seems like they've been out the entire game, and they keep coming back. There's Ruben's pinch hitting numbers. Breaking pitch, ball one. Toward Right field cut off by Cantu, and a nice play to retire Ruben Sierra. As Cano scores run number 8, Jeter will stop at second.
You said it, Kitty. What a nice play. And plays like this just change the whole outcome of the inning. I mean, you just keep another hit going and another run. The fans get in it. Tremendous play keeping that ball from going to the outfield.
And a slick fielding first baseman on the receiving end. So Ruben picks up an RBI. Robbed of a hit by Cantu. Jeter at second. It's now 11-8, and here's Sheffield. In for a strike on the breaking pitch. For Derek, first 4-hit game he's had since June of last year, and he's done that in his career 22 times. Another breaking pitch, 0-2. Chef looked like he was hunting that fastball right there.
Yeah, I mean, you go up with a reputation of a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and all of a sudden you throw 2 of your best sliders in a row, too.
Looped out into left center. That's going to drop in for a hit. Jeter had to hold his ground. Make sure Crawford didn't catch it. He'll stop at third. Here comes A-Rod, and he represents the tying run.
I don't know what you do there, because, I mean, that's another good slider, and you just got to credit Jerry Sheffield. I mean, he saw the slider a couple of pitches, and all of a sudden, I mean, again, he's full, but he stays through the zone and just slaps it out to left field.
Paul, what that's an example of is from pitching, if you throw a hitter 3 of the same pitches, the third one better be better than the second.
That's right.
And as good a fastball as Nunez has, he's really not giving himself a chance to win with it. Crowd on their feet. In for a strike. I mean, if you could throw it 96, you'd tell guys it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, you at least have to show him that 96, even if you want to go back to that slider. Show him that 96 out a pitch where he can't hurt you.
One and one.
And we talk about scouting. It shows exactly what happened. I mean, this guy right here looks at Sheffield, knows that he can handle his fastball. All of a sudden, A-Rod gets in the box. He knows A-Rod can handle a slider, so you go back to your fastball. All of a sudden, if you start mixing them up to everybody, that's when you become more effective.
In the hole, Jeter will score, 11-9. And Hideki Matsui will step in as the lead run, and Lou Piniella will make another angry walk to the mound.
The fastball out, hit it hard, it'll find holes.
Travis Harper, who has given up a run in each of his last 7 appearances, and when you see those numbers, he has not been real dependable. He's going to face Hideki Matsui, and who would have thought in the second inning we'd see Mariano. The Devil Rays have no left-hander in the bullpen. They had veteran Trevor Miller, who's on the disabled list. And the American League Player of the Week, Hideki Matsui, with 2 on, 1 out, bottom of the 8th, Yankees down 2. Outside for a ball. 40,000 plus have been on hand, and despite the Yankees down 8 runs early, they have stuck around. Fouled out of play down the third baseline. You have to go back 8 years ago when Paul O'Neill was on the Yankee team. to find a Yankee team that came back from an 8-run deficit. They were down in that game to the Chicago White Sox and Alex Fernandez, at the time one of the better young pitchers in the league. That's how rare it's been to come back from 8 runs down, and for this season it's been rare for the Yankees to come back, period. Two and one.
You know, it's funny, Kitty. It's like we've turned the page. Early in the game, the Devil Rays had the long innings offensively, and you saw a lot of the Yankees just kind of standing out in the field. And right now, if you look around, the Devil Rays, even though they're still up, and then you know, the bottom of the 8th inning, a lot of them are standing around. And it's just because you know, when you're in the field that long, you start losing concentration.
2 and 2. Yeah, the team that's ahead looks like they're behind.
We talked about it earlier in the telecast, how it almost becomes a mind thing with the Yankees not coming back. Well, vice versa with the Devil Rays. It almost becomes a mind thing that they wait for something bad to happen. They wait to lose the game late in the game.
Little indecision between Harper and Cash. Mike Messina will work Friday night against the Mets. Derek Jeter with his 22nd 4-hit game of his career has been right in the middle of it. 33 hits and 20 runs in this game. Wow. Harper is very, very happy to get that one back. You see Hideki's expression.
Yeah, that's kind of a happy zone right there.
That's the pitch he's been jerking out of the ballpark, and he sure took a nice aggressive swing at it. Now 2 and 2. Hit well to right field. Huff on the run, won't get it. It bounces over his head. Sheffield to score. Hideki to second. It's 11-10.
You know, I was about to say, as we're going to look at the pitch by pitcher, Hideki had some pitches in this count to hit. And if you're as good a hitter and as hot a hitter as his, right here, the first pitch, he gets behind, but then he gets a good pitch right there he takes a swat at. But then when you're a hot hitter, and if you're pitching to a hot hitter, you can't give him too many opportunities. And there you go again with a pitch up in the zone.
They're going to walk Giambi, who has really been struggling this year, to load the bases for Bernie Williams.
I'll tell you what, though, Kitty, I mean, the rule of thumb, when 8th, 9th inning on with the tying run on first base, you play deep. You play no doubles, nothing over your head. And that ball, I don't even... If Huff is playing very deep in right field, it probably comes down and catches it. And I don't think he ever played back.
So the Devil Rays will play the percentages. They're going to walk Giambi and go at Bernie Williams. And we mentioned already the memorable night for Bernie, the 2 RBIs, tying him for 7th place on the all-time Yankee list. And if he could get a hit here, it would do 2 things. In all probability, put the Yankees in the lead, and it would tie him with Yogi Berra for 6th place on the hit list.
You talk about your brand names, huh, kid?
Russ Johnson will enter the game for Giambi. A-Rod's at third, Hideki at second, Russ Johnson running for Giambi at first. Hit well. Deep center field. Hollins on the run is not going to get it. runs are in. Johnson is being waved home. Bernie to third. And the Yankees have taken the lead on Bernie Williams' bases loaded triple.
Again, Bernie gets the pitch up in the zone, and again, a ball over an outfielder's head late in the game. The guys aren't playing deep, but I'll tell you what, this game had so much early to just throw the Yankees down, and they could roll over and die. All of a sudden, you're looking at possibly one of the biggest comebacks they've had all year, and something that might get them really going.
Posada now with the infield in. Still only one out. Inside for a ball. The biggest comeback if the Yankees win this game in 8 years. 13-11. And at one time they were down 10-2. Low for a ball to Posada. And back about 7:45 tonight, you didn't think you'd hear "Enter Sandman," but if the score stays like it is, you'll hear it in the top of the ninth. A 6-run eighth. Fouled out of play, 2-1. And we mentioned Bernie's. Boy, he's going to has to get a couple souvenir baseballs tonight. The RBIs, and now the hit. 2,148th, tied with Yogi, 6th on the all-time list.
I'd like to be there when he passes Yogi in the club. You know Yogi's going to have something to say.
Sure.
And I'm sure it'll be humorous.
And Bernie will be as humble as ever about both of them. Full count to Posada. Cano's on deck. He got it started.
A lot of people breathing a lot easier in that dugout after this comeback.
Oh, in the air to right and deep. Huff at the track, near the wall. He's looking up. Gone! Posada increases the lead to 4. Tigers picked a good game to come to. Tiger did. They're driving the ball well, both teams. Talk about the right launch angle.
This is a long game to a lot of people. I mean,
but I'll tell you what, it's an exciting game.
He's used to being out there 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
You know, he's only on the 15th or 16th hole right now.
Eduardo still has a smile on his face. He actually started the game against Randy Johnson.
He's probably eaten, worked out, run the bike in there.
Cano hits as well to center. Hollins will have room for this one. 2 away. And you're going to look at Posada's home run, which ties him with Joe Pepitone on the Yankee all-time list. 166.
Nobody's safe tonight, kid.
No.
There's records all over the place.
And Jeter with a chance for a 5-hit game. will step in with 2 out.
Come on, G. Go ahead and get your triple. You might as well throw it all out there.
I don't know. I played so many years before you did. That's outside for a ball, so I don't know if this expression was still in the dugout. But you could be getting thumped around in a game like this, and you come in after the top of the 8th, and someone would say, "Come on, guys, let's get 8 in the 8th, or 6 in the 6th, whatever the deficit was." And the Yankees weren't down 8, but they have put an 8 spot up here.
The last time, and you look up, what's the last time there's been 36 hits in a game at Yankee Stadium?
Grounded to third, but foul. Paul mentioned Derek's needing a triple, and if you joined us late, Derek is a triple away from hitting for the cycle. He has 2 singles, a double, and a home run. And now with a 4-run lead, Tom Gordon will get up, so we won't hear Enter Sandman yet. High 2-2. What a night for Bernie Williams.
It's not the first one. He's had a lot of good nights here in Yankee Stadium.
Well, anytime you mention names like Ty and Tony Lazzari and Yogi Berra. Towards second, Cantu gets to it. He made an outstanding play earlier in the inning to take a hit away from Sierra. A base hit, and Derek Jeter has a 5-hit game. All smiles for Buddy Groom. You know, Buddy got a big inning-ending double play when the Devil Rays threatened to add to that 11-7 lead.
You know, it's funny because I was just thinking about that last thing going into this inning when this all started happening. Devil Rays threw up a couple runs last inning. It's a lot different, and that double play really got something going and gave the Yankees a chance to have a big inning.
If I'm Travis Harper, if he gets Ruben out, I think the way I go to the dugout is I run to the bullpen and go around the tunnel the other way right now. Oh. Ripped into right field, another base hit. Jeter will head for third, and it's a Rick Dees kind of night, isn't it? The hits just keep on coming.
You said Harper's been struggling, and if you watch, the counts and the pitches, I mean, the middle of the plate is continually getting hit, and that's when guys are just going to be teeing off on you.
20 hits for the Yankees. 18 for the Devil Rays. Sheffield in for a strike, and again it's another game where the Devil Rays have been able to score at least 5 runs, but it doesn't appear they're going to win. Jeter has had a 5-hit game twice. Did it 4 years ago against the Red Sox. And Vince Namoli, the managing general partner and part owner of the Devil Rays, looked a little more comfortable than that back in the 3rd inning.
You know, it's fun because you said it. This is a fun game. It's a fun game to be here for the Yankee fans. You see a huge comeback, but this is nothing new for the Devil Rays. I mean, they've been blowing leads and giving up a lot of hits and runs all year.
High 2-1. Well, if you joined us late, Tiger Woods and Kevin James have been here from the start. You've missed a lot of excitement. Along with Paul O'Neill, I'm Jim Cott. Happy to have you with us in the Yes Network. The Yankees lead at 15-11. Sheffield takes inside 3-1. Just to recap it briefly, it was a tough night for Randy Johnson. Almost appeared that he wasn't comfortable physically. He gave up 3 home runs. Devil Rays took a 7-1 lead. Then they added with 3 against Scott Proctor, made it 10-2. Bernie with 5 RBIs tonight is now into 6th place on the look out. Even the foul balls are hit hard.
Louis. You got to catch that, Lou.
You know, one of these days, the people down there, they're all going to come with catching gear on.
And the Sheffield Shield up there, like a hockey thing over there. Little plexiglass.
And speaking of recapping the game, Sheffield's 3-run homer in the 5th inning really gave the Yankees some hope. That made it 10-5.
Oh.
Hit deep to left. Whoa! His second 3-run homer of the game. He just passed Billy Williams. What an offensive display. 17-11.
Some are no doubters. He must not have got that. I thought he absolutely killed it, but there was a little indecision in his eyes there.
Didn't mean to shortchange you, Chef. It's 18-11. Here's Alex. You know the thing in this game, not that you want anybody hit in the head, but I have not seen a hitter move their feet yet. I mean, they have just been digging in and teeing off. Breaking pitch, 1-1 to Alex. That ties Gary's career high with 7 RBIs. That's hit well to right field. Huffback on the track, looks up. Another one gone. Home run derby, number 401 for Alex Rodriguez.
Kitty, you could do a hitting video tonight. Right field, left field, home run, base hits. I don't know what to say anymore here. This is something, and this is what the Yankee fans have expected from their offense all year. It's fun to see.
Well, we'll be able to sum it up. I wonder who Kim Jones is going to talk to in the postgame show. Might have to have a team picture down there. Hideki takes outside for a ball.
As a hitter, this is when you start this in the back of your mind thinking, you know, one might be coming here.
Yeah, well, it's too late for that now.
Yeah.
2-0. Boy, this is you feel bad at this point for Travis Harper. I mean, there's nobody up in the Devil Ray bullpen, so it's the 15th batter of the inning. That's in for a strike. And we'll have to tabulate all these home runs and hits and RBIs. And going to be that's hit well. Holland's back, looking up. Oh my! Black seats. Oh my goodness!
I mean, the outfielders, they're just looking around like, what do you do?
Boy, what a test for that young man's psyche to survive an inning like this. Woo. 15 men have come to the plate. The Yankees have scored 13 runs. This is Russ Johnson. Now, wouldn't you know, he went in for a pinch runner. He's the guy they'll knock down.
Yeah.
There's another look at Matsui.
You know, this is an impressive. The black seats, and that wasn't a fly ball.
No.
That was kind of a line drive.
20-11.
We got all fields covered this inning. We have one to left, right, center.
How many home runs is that, Joe? Can you count it up for me? I can't keep track of it. Sheffield's got 2. Jeter's got 1. Posada's got one. A-Rod's got one. Hideki. And Russ Johnson pulls that foul. And who would have thought on a night where Randy Johnson suffers one of the shortest outings he's ever had in his career, and the Yankees are going to come back and looks like they're going to win this when they lead 20-11. That's another dugout saying, hey guys, let's hit for about a half hour.
Yeah.
Get back in it. Well, the Yankees have hit for 35 minutes.
Somebody missed the extra point up there with that 20 runs. Huh?
Boy. This one looks like it might stay in the park. Wow. What a rough inning for Travis Harper. What a great inning for the Yankee fans. They've stuck around 40,000 on their feet to see this onslaught. A 13-run 8th inning. We head to the 9th. Who'd have thought this? Yankees lead it 20-11. Back in the 3rd inning with a 10-2 lead. It was comfortable, and we'll just put the numbers up to recap that 8th inning. The Yankees sent 16 men to the plate. They got 12 hits. They scored 13 runs. They hit 4 home runs. And they hit for 35 minutes and 20 seconds. Ooh.
We saw every second of it. Are you kidding?
Sheffield 2 for 2 in the inning with a home run, 3 RBIs. And Tom Gordon will try to close it out. Strike one to Carl Crawford. There's Flash's numbers. And the loss may be in this 20-11 score, but he will get credit for the win as the big out that Buddy Groom got with that double play ball to end the top of the 8th. Like you said, Paul, that could have pushed the lead to like 13-7, and then boy, that's a big hill to climb. The back-to-back-to-back home runs. That's hit well, but pulled foul. Is a franchise record. It's been done 10 times. Last time was May 8th back in '94 against the Red Sox. You might have had one of those. Back-to-back home runs. I've thrown up back-to-back-to-back a few times.
I hit one against Cleveland in the playoffs. It was back there with Raines and Jeter. Last time I remember being part of it.
In the air to left. Playable for Sierra. One away in the 9th. A reminder following tonight's last at bat, stick around for the Nissan postgame with Bob Lorenz and Kim Jones. That'll feature comprehensive analysis of tonight's game. That might be a 2-hour show. Interviews with players, all the scores and highlights from around the league. The Nissan postgame immediately following our game right here on Yes. Here's Lugo. Fouled off for strike one. Randy Johnson started. Scott Proctor came in. Mike Stanton pitched a little bit. Tanyan Sturtz. Buddy Groom got some big outs. I believe he would stand to be the winning pitcher. And now Tom Gordon to try to finish it off. 0-2 to Lugo. Matsui, that home run into the black seats, the 19th player to do it, 25th time it's been done, and our colleague Kenny Singleton, I think, was the first one to do it in the remodeled Yankee Stadium back in 1977. Fouled out of play, still 0-2. John's a good listener. John McLaren, Lou's bench coach. High for a ball to Lugo, 1-2.
Johnny Mac's been with him since he was in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He was in Cincinnati with 15, 16 years.
Good curveball by Gordon, strikes out Lugo. And the Yankees are 1 out away from an improbable comeback win. Last time they came back from 8, as we get another look at the Gordon curve, was in 1996. And Paul and I talked in the open about the lack of come-from-behind wins this year. So for the second time on the homestand, a game that appeared to be lost appears to go in the win column. Cantu takes a strike. And there's a few wins during a year that a team looks back on and says, you know, these were key, like Tino Martinez grand slam in Baltimore. I think that was '96, and tonight is one of those games for the Yankees.
It's games that you steal, games that you shouldn't have won. And then if you have more games than that than the ones you remember that you should have won and lost, then all of a sudden you start running up that win column.
Fans on their feet, one strike away. It's been a long one. Gets away from Posada, and he'll tag Cantu, and that does it. Tom Gordon finishes off the Devil Rays in the 9th, and the Yankees come back from 7-1, 10-2, 11-7 with a big 13-run 8th inning. A couple of memorable at-bats for Bernie Williams and a rough night for Travis Harper. And it all adds up to a 20-11 Yankee win. As you can imagine, there is a lot to talk about after this game, and we'll come back to the stadium to wrap it up right after this. The Yankees win game 2 of the 4-game series 20-11.